Hello? Hello? Hello, 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 hello. Hello, my little lovelies. Welcome back. Camille and Taurus, welcome back. Oh my god, my nails. I need to file them. Welcome back! Christopher, welcome back. God, I broke my little twisty. I think I need a new boomer. What up, Chris? How you doing? Welcome to Spooky Day. My birds are very active today. We are just hanging out, watching some spooky stuff, learning about spooky things. I didn't want to play fast mode today. I wanted to just spend quality time yapping for a second and not dealing with the Easter event that literally burned me out last year. What's up, Space Demon? Welcome back. We are live in 3 platforms. If you'd like to join, you can join me on the purple app, the clock app, and the red app. No hesitation, no stress in regards to where you want to join. Do not feel pressure or, feel like you need to be obligated, but just know that we cap the clock app at after an hour or so of hanging out. We'll be doing some spooky things today, hanging out. I think my birds really want to talk to you guys, so I'm gonna have a stream where I just have them out. And that's all you have. That's all it'll be. I think that's what it'll be. And we'll accept that. And it is what it is, you know? Hope you guys had a beautiful day. I do see some things on the YouTube channel, starting with the Backrooms trailer. I haven't really fully seen it. I did repost. I got to see the first part of it. I didn't fully finish the trailer, so I'll be happy to finish that with you guys. Had a really busy day. Play some tennis. What else did I do? Oh, I went out shopping for a little bit to get some more ingredients for my nice little rice bowl I made today. Hello, Sane. I accidentally coached a kid. Hi, babies. Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah. Kind of played tennis. Went to serving. Grandpa kid came up to me and were like, can we return it back after your serve? And I was like, sure. And one thing led to the other, and then I just started randomly coaching this kid on how to do form, on like how to hold your racket properly, and like how to like hit the ball back. It was like a full-on, I thought I was gonna have a shit day, to be quite honest, but it was an enjoyable moment, and I was like, God, I really do like teaching. I'm not the best at tennis, and I still am on the lookout for a freaking coach right now because I need to get better at my serve, but I have had an enjoyable experience, and kind of doing all of that helped me realize how thankful I am to have started tennis in the last year and where I'm at today versus like where I was then. And I'm so glad I'm able to come back to it. But that's my day. I somehow became a coach. Me Sevenu 1750. If you have a preferred name, let me know. But welcome to chat. You're a first time chatter. Hello. Mess says, bawling my eyes out, went to an anti-frozen water event, and the end of the event, the mariachis there sang Cielito Lindo, and everyone sang along. Did that happen today or over the weekend? Oh, mess. That would have made me fucking cry. That would have made me fucking cry. Do you know why scuba divers fall backwards when diving? I do not know why. Christopher, can you let me know? Because if they go forward, they will still be in the boat. I thought you were gonna give me like a scientific reason. D20, big F with the 7 on the D20 today. Aw, that would have made me cry. That would have fucking made me cry. How's everybody doing? What'd you guys get for dinner? And you can't say you ate someone else. Please think of actual food. But you know, your partner could also be a whole meal, but that's not what I mean. Happy April Fools, Chris. I haven't ate today. Aimed at me, huh? Mess. You are the one that usually is messy. That's why your name is Mess. You need to go eat, Space Demon. Please go consume some food. Welcome to chat, Pachita. For those that do not know, today is Spooky Night. Wednesdays are usually Spooky Night. And we end up doing some video games for the most part and watching videos online. They are all about spookiness and stuff like that, right? I didn't want to play a video game today, to be honest. With Phasmophobia, it's also like their Easter event happening right now. I was drained out. I was upset last year with it. I thought it was too repetitive on certain things. And once again, they're making it so long that at this point, I'd rather just have some days where I'm yapping with you guys and watching some spooky things. So if you guys are in the Discord and you have any recommendations, we can totally go ahead and watch those. I do see the link to the Backrooms official trailer. I did know that that was happening. I only watched a glimpse of it. I'm ready to watch the whole entire trailer, and I was hoping to watch it with you guys so we can do that together. So we can start that off, and then we can dive into YouTube watching some spooky ghosty games. No, spooky ghost videos. Mess says, I made flautas and took them to the event, made guac, salsa, and sour cream to go. I love you. Love you. You are my kind of people. My wife and I get backpacks filled with stuff that we can pass out for everybody so they can get filled. They have food, they have nutrients. They are like, they get mask and water if they need it and electrolytes. So that's the kind of people we are. And like, I love meeting people that also do that too. Whether that was intentional or not, that's what fuels the people, you know? Now, before we continue, as a reminder, we are live in 3 platforms. You can watch me on the Red app, the Purple app, and the Clock app. Remember, we clock the Clock app, tickety talk, after an hour, top of the hour ads over on the Purple app. 3-minute longs. We do not watch or do many things during the ad break. We just hang out with the subbies. You can always subscribe if you desire, but a free way of supporting is just simply watching the ads. If you want to sub, just know all of those things, including even watching ads, it all goes back to the stream. As some of you guys remind me, I don't need to ask for monetary support, but I am deserving nonetheless, and I'm trying to accept the compliments because you guys are really kind to me, and I'm trying to sit here and accept the compliments. So thank you for being so kind to me and supporting me along the way. Big update though. First big upload from ALX. There was not a stream and it was an offline thing. Goes live either tomorrow or on Saturday. And I guess you guys can let me know if you want it sooner or later. What's up, Nachos, over on the Red app? See you screaming. Do you feel like it would be better if I post episode 1 and 2 of Dispatch? It's one whole video of 1 and 2 of Dispatch, my reactions to Dispatch. I finally finished editing it. I just need to write my descriptions and stuff like that. Should I do it as soon as possible, or should I do it on Saturday because I don't go live on Saturdays? That way you guys have access to something on Saturday if you want to watch it. Thank you for liking the live over on the Red app, Nachos. I see you. Accept the compliments until Sean gets here. I know. He really likes to throw hands, huh? I'm gonna show up to how I make a pound cake. You on both? How am I supposed to do both? Just go live tomorrow then? It's uploaded to the Red app. It's all ready. The only thing that's missing is just me sitting down and write all my full-on description stuff that I'm supposed to. So it's ready for y'all, basically. It's just more of like, I'm being conscious of the fact that I know I don't go live every day. So if there's content to be have, should I have it on days that I don't go live? I don't know. Maybe I just posted. We'll see. It was fun. I had a really good time playing Dispatch. I'm not gonna lie. Game of the year for me so far. Although Requiem is also game of the year. And I'm already seeing glimpse of Life is Strange reunion. Also game of the year. Hot topic, hot debate. Mess, what is your hot topic, hot debate? Welcome to the purple app. Nachos, I see you. Magic. I am pretty magical, so I guess I could make something work. Sitting here waiting for Mess. Since when were we going to the moon? Did not know that until too. Oh yeah, I found out today. Plug. I don't know if he ever shows up, I'm gonna laugh. He's supposed to be streaming this on a Discord server that I'm in. But apparently we're having a moon launch today. We haven't had our astronauts be at the moon in a really long time. And my first response to that was like, right. So we didn't go to the moon the first time, because the way it came off from them, not from Plug, but from like in general through all the news outlets, was like, it's the first time or like whatever that our astronauts are gonna go to the moon. And I'm like, did we not already do that? What do you guys mean? What is happening? And apparently it's been since that happened back in I don't know how long. We haven't had an astronaut go over there. I also thought NASA shut down, but I guess not. Not that it should shut down, not that it needs to. I'm sure it's still very well funded, even if it's private. But I'm just very confused by it because I feel like they're always not working, but working. It's weird. As a sci-fi neuroscience person who keeps their ear to the ground, I didn't even know there was a launch. Yeah, there was one today. Here. Or there is one today. Here. I like how you had to emphasize that likes to keep their ear on the ground. Okay. I may be a little bit of a conspiracy theorist over here. NASA gets like 1% of the dollar in funding. That's where I'm curious, because I remember having read like articles of NASA saying that they were likely going to start closing their doors because they didn't have funding. My guess is they're likely getting funding through private equity and stuff like that, or not private equity, but like through private donors, which is possible. But also, I don't know, I feel like, then again, I don't want NASA to be like acquired by the government, I guess. I don't know. It's weird. Not right now. I don't trust it if it was acquired to the government. Now it's just like a stamp of like if they do something, like America's so proud of them. But for the most part, like I don't know, I always feel weird about it. What's up, Hound Dog? Let me see if I can fix that. There you go. Y'all saw everything over on the clock app. Okay. Okay. Lower the volume. Has anybody gotten a 20 yet? No. Live updates. Artemis II astronauts reach orbit on historic mission to the moon and back. Wait, to the moon and back? As in like they just did it? Are they already back? Are they back already? No. The Archimedes' second mission has begun NASA's lunar fly-around by 4 astronauts in the first trip to the moon in 53 years. The 32-story Space Launch System rocket blasted off from Kennedy Space Center in Florida. Archimedes astronauts Reid Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Koch, and Jeremy Hansen with hurdles several thousand miles beyond the moon. Hang a U-turn. Y'all did it during a full moon? Sounds like y'all better manifest. Come straight back. Hang a U-turn and then come straight. So they didn't even land. I thought they were landing. No stopping for a moonwalk. Just a quick out and back. Lasting less than 10 days. Promises more boot prints in the gray lunar dust, but not before the couple practice missions. Oh, so it's a practice mission? It's not even the real deal?
And here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7. RS 25 engines lit. 4, 3, 2, 1. Booster ignition. And liftoff. The crew of Artemis 2 now bound for the moon.
Is this AI? No, I'm just kidding.
Good roll pitch.
You know, it's really bad when we're getting to a point where I'm asking, is this all AI? Because I can't tell anymore. Sounds like a propulsion test as well.
Roll pitch.
Houston now controlling the flight of integrity on the Artemis 2 mission around the moon.
Big shout out to the astronauts, bruh. Once upon a time, you believed in something, and you became it.
On time, passing 30 seconds until the flight.
Science is cool.
Integrity passes the ultimate beacon. Target milestone. Mission Control Houston seeing good performance on the 4 main engines. Space Launch System core stage. Integrity, 3 miles in altitude. Traveling more than 1,200 miles per hour. Altitude 8 miles downrange, traveling more than 2,600 miles per hour.
What made us feel like we couldn't go to the moon before again? Not before, but like haven't been able to go to the moon since. Like what stopped us? Why haven't we? Really, where we're trying to get off the planet. They've been. Ring about boom boom. Thank you for the watch streak. 35 stream streak. That's crazy, Nachos. Thank you for the stream streak. I appreciate you. Hey, Alex. It's been a while since I tuned in. How are you? I'm doing very well. CC, welcome back to chat. Welcome back, Antonio. I haven't seen you guys in a minute. We're just talking about the launch that happened today. We were supposed to do Spooky Night, but I got kind of distracted here. Because Mez didn't know over in the Purple app, and I found out today. But apparently they're doing test rounds, basically. They're not landing yet. My question is, what took us so long to go back to the moon? We were able to do it before. Where's my tin hat? Where's my tin hat? Somebody give me my tin hat. No, I'm gonna stop. Listen, it's probably possible. But what if it's not? Oh, what if it's not? What if it wasn't? Well, we did it because we wanted to be the first in the moon, more or less, for the achievement. What's up, Shadow? Really no reason to go back. I guess that's true. That is so American. That is totally American. Yeah. Space is spooky? Okay. That's valid. Space is spooky. 100%. Space is 1,000% spooky. I still would rather be in space than the ocean. And I say that as somebody that grew up in the ocean and loves the ocean. Speaking of spooky, how about we look at spooky ocean facts? La Llorona. Today's spooky. Remember, Wednesday is for spookies. We're not gonna be playing a game, but I want to yap with you guys today. I want to chill out, relax. It's been a minute. I always have to sit here and play a game. How about we just chill? How about we just fucking talk for a second? What was the scariest thing you've ever experienced in your life that's not like that you just can't fucking explain? How did this happen? Where did this manifest itself? Space is spooky. Saw shit once. What did you see? Space demon. Nah, hell no. I think why it took us so long is because of a certain orange. Well, he wasn't in power. It was 53 years since that had happened. So it's like clearly something. I think Antonio's correct. I think we were just really there for the achievement, not necessarily to go back and study it. Because America likes to be first for a lot of things. So I think Antonio's spot on that analogy. If you don't want to look at it from a perspective of a conspiracy theorist, I don't want to look at it that way, but it is funny that it exists and people talk about it. CC with a rap that. Okay, Men of the Wall. Oh, reminds me, I finished the hex, so we can go ahead and start off One Piece pretty soon. But I think I'm gonna do some side quests and just finish all the romance stuff from the hex before I get to One Piece. So just so y'all know. So that'll be Friday. I think we'll be doing some grinding on all that stuff. Saw lights of Afghanistan and guard tower. Nothing in the air above us confirmed by command. Buddy next to me saw it too. First of all, Chris, are you military? Thank you for your service. Two, okay, if you are military, I actually have heard a lot of military folks give me some seriously weird shit stories. If that's the case. Like fucking paranormal, not just in like situations similar to that, but like actually at the bases specifically. Hound Dog Conspiracy, use code Voruna for cool stuff in Warframe. Why did you say conspiracy before that? Are you giving me an ad? We have stories. Yeah, no. All of the people that I know that are in the military at least have a couple stories of like something, at least if anything in the base. In the base is it ocean spooky stories. All right, hold on. Let me see. Guys, for you that don't know, Alex likes River. Space Demon, what are you doing? Huh? Why are we lying on chat already? I came in and you said conspiracy. Oh, that's why. I was like, I sounded like an ad that you were reading off. I was like, what? Stories. Okay, hold on. I feel like marine life specifically freaks me out. And because we've only discovered like 10% of the ocean, I know you guys can't see. I still have a sensor. I'm just trying to boot it up in the background. Because we've only discovered 10% of the ocean itself. Like the idea of there being creatures that we just have never seen because we haven't really fucking explored the ocean that much, and global fucking warming, so animals are starting to come up to the right to the aboves of the ocean. It just feels fucking terrifying. But like, put all that shit aside, the ocean is so fucking big. To me, same shit as fucking Bigfoot. There's just nowhere some weird shit is not gonna be there, you know? Oh, creepypasta? Is this creepypasta? Ocean mysteries? Oh, iceberg.
Ocean. It covers 71.
Hold on. Pause it, damn it. Pause it. All right. Oh, my face. Bruh, my luck. With the one? Yeah, that was pretty rough, dude. No one, we're going back. They're looking for a bigger booster. Big F, don't think that I'm never gonna ban. Don't you dare think that I'm not gonna ban my own mods. What's up, Flitty? How you doing? I believe. Hold on, I'm reading. I believe I was somewhere else before gaining consciousness at the age of 5. From what I remember, I was like a white spiral staircase with apartments. Me being me, I had walked out and was locked out of the room to be let in, and I decay. It was a dream or something. That's an interesting thing because I actually have a story. there's hold on. There's theories. Let me put the music on while we're talking about this, okay? There's theories. So that was not just explaining something that they had witnessed when they were younger. They believed that they had witnessed when they were younger, if you're watching from any of the other platforms. But basically there's theories about the staircase that happens in the wilderness. So some of the rangers talk about seeing staircases that lead to nothing, basically, in the national parks and stuff like that. Mind you, the national parks are so massive. A lot of it hasn't really been as potentially not discovered, but explored as much as they could in comparison to maybe being in the trails. But when they're wandering off and backpacking and doing these things, sometimes they see things. So I wouldn't be surprised if you were awake and you just saw some shit. I'm a big believer that things just manifest. But I also had an experience when I was younger that I thought I was dying in a dream. I don't know. It felt very surreal. I saw my life in a dream pass by me. I was like probably, what, 8 or so? Jolted into awareness and awake in the middle of the night. But I like just saw my whole life at the young age. Floated with the 20. I do need to do a slow chat at some point. Oh, I've seen the staircases. I see a video of a great white slowly circling, playing dead, while something much larger passing under it. Second, honey? Who got the first? Big F, if you see it, can you pin it? I might have missed it. And if it was yours, yeah, you're gonna have to pin it. Yeah, because I see it. Yeah, it was Big F. So then Big F and Flutie, can you guys roll off real quick so I can do it? Alex, I actually have a video about the staircases in national parks. Yeah, send it. Oh, the roll off. Flutie with the 9. Big F, you're gonna roll off on it? You sure? Okay. Let me go back up real quick. Customize manual pin. All right. So you have seen the staircases? Yeah, there's a lot of theories about that. It's not real, but it's very interesting storyteller. There's a couple people that talk about that. There's a lot of rangers that talk about it, actually, about the staircases. Reddit alone has a ton of stories. We could do a deep dive on Reddit one day. I'd be happy to like pull some stuff aside, and if you guys find some, definitely we can read it. We could also have like Am I an Asshole night and just read some of those stories if you really wanted to, because I usually just listen to Smosh reading them off. But yeah, 100%. 100%. It's not real, but it's very interesting storyteller. Anyway, 19 and 3. You got a 19 and a 3? That's not bad. What's up, Eric? Oh, okay. Let's go back to the ocean stuff. Hold on. You guys ready?
Of the world's surface.
Go back.
An insane amount of the world that's unexplored. And with all the unexplored... The ocean. It covers 71% of the world's surface. That's a lot of water and an insane amount of the world that's unexplored. And with all the unexplored parts of the sea, there's sure to be many creepy, scary, and some insane facts and mysteries, ranging from weird theories to some crazy facts. Personally, I find the ocean scary as it is, so let's see how I view the ocean after covering this whole iceberg. I'm excited to cover it, so let's get into it with the Ocean Mysteries Iceberg. And actually, before we get into the video, I'd like to say thank you for 50,000 subscribers. It's insane that I've reached this goal so fast, and if I ever even reach this goal.
Why am I seeing SpongeBob neighbor? It's spooky night, but then we got into the conversation, or somebody brought up the ocean, and I was like, oh my god, the ocean. So we're watching spooky ocean videos. You guys should follow Schnook.
even seem possible.
I'm gonna skip
but
through
here
it,
we
but
are.
not the whole
Thank
thing.
you all for watching. It really does mean the world. And the next subscriber goal is the big 100,000 subscribers. So if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. It's free. Actually, in the ocean, if 80% of it ocean remains unexplored to us. Most of the Earth's oceans are exceedingly deep, with the average ocean depth
Do you ever heard the theory that space is just water? Not at all. I have not.
of around 12,000 feet. In these depth realms, often referred to as the twilight zone and the midnight zone, remain one of the least explored areas of our world. This inaccessibility, characterized by crushing pressure, frigid temperatures, and complete darkness, has hindered comprehensive study, and who knows what is actually.
Basically, we don't have equipment good enough to be able to get all the way down there because pressure is probably gonna fuck equipment over. Also, I would like to say that there's definitely shit ton of spirits inside of the fucking ocean. You want to know why I say that? Because think about it. How many tragedies have humankind experienced? Think about it. What has Earth, not just Jesus, the tragedies that have happened in the ocean are countless. And then the forced tragedies that have happened because of colonialism as well. Then all that, right? And how human bodies are practically preserved inside of the ocean. Like they don't decay. It takes like a while. I remember actually a black marine biologist. Yes, a black marine biologist. She is specifically, was it that? I forgot her title, but basically she's working to be able to like learn more from roll off with Flutie. Eric and Flutie, you guys have to roll off. She specifically works with areas where you would find a lot of the folks that would have jumped off from the ships before getting to mainland. And there's no way, Eric. I would be shocked. Yeah, Flutie stays pinned. I thought I was in limestone that attracted spirits, maybe, but you also have to think about it in a perspective of like there's still a lot of tragedy that have happened. There's no way the ocean isn't in, not that it's cursed, it just hosts a lot. Just host like a lot of energy, I think, in my opinion. Mez got a 20, roll off with Flutie. You're not gonna beat this, Mez. I don't even know how this is happening. Mez is like, I give up. Sorry. And not that I wanted to give you the bad energy. I just think that that's crazy. Anyway, human bodies don't necessarily decay that well or that fast. And it takes a really long time for them to decay underwater. So like we will probably still be able to see human bodies that will look pale and almost angelic like underwater, just in stillness. And that's the creepiest part. And it all comes from a history of just literal fucking tragedy in this fucking world. But that's what I mean. It's just like, it's so. Why are you bitches all getting 20s in my chat? Oh, Flutie got a 13. Wow. Not you with a 2. It's because Eric put too much pressure. Water holds memory too. Exactly.
in the ocean if 80% of it is unexplored.
The tip of the
Atlantis.
iceberg.
Atlantis is a legendary and mythical island that has captured the human imagination for centuries.
Here's my theory about Atlantis. I have a theory. Okay, you guys ready? I think Atlantis is probably what's gonna happen to Miami one day in the future. I say that's somebody that grew up in Miami. The island is not the island, but the place is sinking. That To me, the concept of Atlantis is just a city that became covered in water. That probably kind of maybe does exist and nobody really knows. I don't know about it being like a extremely futuristic civilization, but I do think it's possible that it at some point. Whoa, Eric got a 20? Sharks to this day follow the routes ape ships. You guys are going so fast. No, look up the Eye of the Sahara. I'm 99% that it is Atlantis. Okay, we'll look at that. Because this guy's video is pretty long, so we can definitely look at that. Oh my god, Eric did it! Okay, wait, give me a second before you guys start rolling off. Again, because I know somebody's gonna get another tuna. Y'all calm down, okay? This isn't Vegas. Damn it. It's not even the nearby casino by me, okay? It's just my chat. Why do I even try? Is it look up this? Okay, you think that's what Atlantis is? Okay, sharks follow the routes of slave ships took during the transatlantic slave trade, so the ocean is definitely haunted. Yeah, exactly. The ocean is definitely haunted. The ocean holds a lot of memory. The ocean holds stories. There's no way. Do you guys like literally think about it? There's quite global warming, obviously. The water levels are rising, right? This can't be the first time that has happened in the past, considering also how fucking we were all one big ass continent and eventually just it all split, right? Because plate tectonics and things, right? Think about it. There's no way civilizations are not all. There's no way the ocean doesn't hold history in its own way. There's just no fucking way it doesn't hold history, man. History. Think about it. Think about it. There's shit in there that we probably don't even know because we don't even have the proper equipment to fucking go and discover shit. Only 20% of the ocean has been discovered. That's the craziest part to my whole spiel. Okay. Kag said nachos, you're so ridiculous. Kag said Eye of the Sahara. Eye of the Sahara. Let's see. We're closer to ever discovering the lost city of Atlantis. There's a history. We'll watch this first video, but there's a history. There's a clip from the History Channel specifically showing something. Here, we'll watch. Oh, I see what you're talking about. Hold on. No. I just saw clips of it. I understand what you're saying. This is a time lapse of what it would have looked like before. This is a time lapse. Let me play the music because there's no. Okay. I don't even know what's happening. Somebody needs to help with the pinning. Keep my crown. Because you guys are spamming the D20. Okay. Kag said Atlantis together. So I think this is a time lapse of what it would have looked like pre that. And Peep thinks that basically that would have been Atlantis. And there could have been a civilization in general prior to all of that. And honestly, if you think about it, Colorado used to be a tropical area. And then it became what it is today. Eric's still with a 20. I think you guys are just fighting. At this point, I'm going to unpin everybody. And somebody just tell me who wins at the end of the day. Okay? Post it in my community chat. All right, hold on. Why do I feel like you went in a day and you were just like, conspiracy theories. Poseidon carved the mountain where his love dwelt into a palace and encloses with 3 circles. From one of 3 stated separated in the rings and line portion sized. Oh! So that would be like the folklore lore behind it in regards of how the gods would have created Atlantis. Rightful king entire island in the ocean called surrounding areas as fiefdom, Atlantis twin, Girius, or Hercules. Atlantis would be Greek mythology? No. Am I wrong to say that? Would it be Greek mythology? Can somebody with higher IQ level than I? I'm looking at all of chat. Pre-Greek? Okay. So then the eye of this... Okay, so if we're taking this theory, right? Of the tales and the stories of the folklore era, pre-Greek phase, and we're talking about the gods and Poseidon splitting into it, which is usually how people tell stories. So if you go into like folklore history of the past within our indigenous era and like beginnings of civilizations, you'll always often see like nods to gods and deities as the formations of cities and stuff like that, and how things were brought upon the attention. So if that's the case, then it explains how Atlantis was created. Excuse you, I'm talking to my friends online. That is disrespectful. Okay, so then we take that theory, right? And then you look at the eye captured by NASA, Sahara. If you guys know how things are, Flutie so far with the 20. Did Flutie take it? Yeah, Flutie's back. I'll pin that one. Hold on, please take a pause on the D20 roll so I can find it easily. Please. Okay, I'll pin that one. And then I'll let you guys fight it out, and then I'll check again later. Okay, now go ahead. Go. Immediately. So if you guys know how climate has changed over time, right? Not just with the flip coin. If you guys know how climate has changed over time and you look at like the dinosaur age and how things used to look like, I'll give you an example. Colorado used to look very much tropical. We had palm trees here. There is likely historic evidence that the Sahara, as probably mentioned, definitely had something. Thank you for the hydrate, not just had all of this. I don't really do research on the Sahara because that's not where I live, so I wouldn't know. Somebody more educated than me, please let me know. But they did a timeline of what it could have looked like back then, and so if all of that ties back to what Kags is saying and what Kags is showing us and what this video is showing us, because there could have been a civilization right there, I would say, yeah, then that is Atlantis, because it ties back to the historical fucking writings of lore from earlier civilizations and how they used to tell how things were like a thing, right? Now, 3 circles, exactly. Oh, here! This is what they're talking about. That was the history. Okay, that's the history channel post that I was talking about. That doesn't just naturally happen. No, it would have to be carved. It's the same way the Machu Picchu exists. It doesn't just come into mountains because it just was created that way. That was carved into its position. It's the same. I just think that maybe more tech needs to happen for them to really deep dive into that area more, because right now I believe scientists have found another Sphinx. If I'm correct, theory is saying that some people believe that there's actually 3 Sphinx in Egypt, not just one, or the second one that they just, I believe tech has possibly found. But they think it's 3 because technically we have 3 Great Pyramids. Eric with the 20, Flutie with the reroll, or the 6. Eric, you would have to be the 6. Flutie stays pinned. Let me go to Discord real quick. History in Africa is so dope. Related to stream. Poseidon carved the mountain where his love. I love how I said we were gonna watch ghosty stuff, and we will. We will. We will. Okay. But now we're deep in this theory, okay? So I'm gonna stay in this and I'll tweak the title later. Poseidon carved the that is the thing we just saw. Okay, there we go. Poseidon carved oh! Wait, that's the actual map? Kags, are you taking screenshots from your computer to share the stream? Wait, that's actually really fucking dope. Wait, have you been deep diving this? This is technically spooky. Kags got files on files. Kags in the middle of the night. This is definitely Atlantis, guys. This has to be Atlantis. How do we become volunteers in the research part of things? Because then I'm fascinated by the person that's currently trying to find Cleopatra's tomb. I believe she's a Mexican archaeologist who's working with and in Egypt or in the Roman areas, actually. In the nearby areas to try to find her tomb, but I think the last check-in was her looking at some underwater stuff. Cleopatra's dying wish was also to not, I believe, I might be wrong on that one, was to not find her tomb, but I could have maybe confused that with somebody else. Has a whole team dedicated to you. and you. I miss when my FBI agent just let me be in TikTok. They hired the FBI agent at my job. I don't think that's a coincidence. Oh my god. Okay, Kags. You need to watch out. Fun fact, I definitely am in the watch list. Honestly, I think all of us probably are, but also if you have military background, you're extra on the list. This is my tism tick. Jesus. Hold on. Okay, then you definitely have seen this. Have you heard about the second Sphinx? Have you guys heard of the second Sphinx? Or like maybe it was false. I don't know. I believe it. If there's three pyramids, there's no way there's not a second Sphinx. In my opinion, I think there's more under the sand and we're not seeing it. Those are my theories, those are my thoughts. I can't talk about it. That's totally valid. You don't hire. Nah, my Chinese spy used to show me all the good femboy. Stop, mess. No, for real. And I always used to get the best food like explanation videos on my TikTok pre the ownership shift. I'm trying to find the 2Ps, brother. Yes, the sand are still hiding the history. Yeah, there's no way. I don't, like, even if it was true or false, my theory is there's so much under that we just don't fucking know and technology is not there. I see us figuring out what's under the sand sooner than I see us figuring out at least 30% of water versus the 20% that we've discovered in the ocean. That's my theory. I think we'll find technology faster that will help us figure out what's under the sand before we actually figure out what's under the ocean. I mean, we're literally taking pictures of like planets in another system. So it's like, is it not? I don't know. I just think it's at this point we might never know what the fuck is under the water. And I don't even know if they want us to know what the fuck is under the water. I mean, I just look at a bunch of water just risen in the last 100 years. Yeah. That too. And that goes back to what I was saying. I think the ocean itself is also hiding a shit ton of history that we don't know about. We don't know about, you know? The Giza plot doesn't need any help staying famous, but it hasn't stopped a new burst of headlines from suggesting that it contained buried second sphinx and an underground megastructure. I don't know. I still stand by what I said. I think I agree with Kags in regards to that. The sand is definitely hiding more history than what we're actually seeing. There's just no fucking way There's just no fucking way we're not seeing. I just can't, you know. The current theory centers the Italian researcher Filippo Bioni, who said that the Matt Bill Limitless podcast and Saturday radar scans geometric alignment point mirror side across the Great Sphinx. He added that it was about 80% confident the buried formation could be a second Sphinx. The signs are something much larger below it. Part of theory leans to drain steel monument placed between the Great Sphinx paws around 14,000 BC during the reign of Thutmose IV. In mainstream scholarship, that steel is generally understood in royal messages tied to divine legitimacy. The current theory argues that the imagery, which appears to show two Sphinx figures, could point to a literal second monument rather than a symbolism. Newsweek noticed that Egyptologists do not treat the stele as proof of buried twin, and that the next itself does not mention one. Probably not. It could also be a completely different structure. There's also like lost civilizations currently being found. There's a show in History Channel literally called Lost Civilizations, because the scan radar system that they do for underground stuff is getting so more advanced that they're starting to find new tombs and new things and new places. Also plate tectonics, like the way the dirt and the mountains and things are moving are also slowly starting to reveal things from the past that we hadn't seen before. So it's like a combination of our technology evolving, but then also science itself and the earth, the way it moves, slowly showing us shit that we thought we'd never find before, or we just didn't know existed. Their entire coastlines of countries that no longer exist. Oh yeah, 1000%. And this is why I said earlier, not that I don't want Miami to like stay around, but as somebody that grew up in Miami, as somebody that used to work in places that like would have county gatherings and people have serious conversations about floods, like it is 1000% possible that 1,000 years from now, somebody would look back at Miami as a lost fucking city. Ocean Drive specifically, Miami Beach specifically, because that's an island of its own attached to the Florida Peninsula, and it's just connected by two bridges, basically a couple bridges that connect from one end to the other. You ever heard that Earth cores hell and the sun? Hold on, sorry about that. You ever think that the Earth core is hell and the sun got lied? And that's why there's good and bad people on Earth. That we're just no, but I've always believed as Earth as just like an experience. If you really wanted to ask me my belief system regarding all of that, I would tell you that I think Earth is just a space for us to experience the good, the bad, and the ugly, and learn lessons from it. And wherever we're supposed to go next, we go next. I also don't think it's just Earth. But I don't know. I think not believing that there's probably more than just one. Sorry, I'm trying to charge my phone. I think not believing that there's probably more than just. Thank you for the posture check and the hydrate nachos and all that stuff. And the stretch. I didn't do that. I'm all about the cosmos and the stars, but I'm also a huge believer that like everything is so vastly huge that there's no way that there aren't other creatures that could possibly exist, because we are barely in the cusp of technology when it comes to understanding things and like discovering it. I think especially millennials, we kind of are just in that phase where we've seen so much technology do like a massive jump. And so I think we are really in just the middle stage of civilization, and we're going to see what it is next that is likely going to help the future continue understanding what the world is about, but most importantly, the universe itself. Now, we can talk about it in a spiritual sense that the sun could be the god. That feels more like paganism. But really, I don't necessarily think that Earth is specifically Like, I've heard of that, but I don't necessarily see it as it being hell, because I don't logically connect that as possible, because if the sun is God, then what really is hell? Is it not the abyss of the universe? Because it can't just be Earth. That would then center Earth for me as like the one and only, when I do believe there's so much more than just Earth. It's weird being a spiritual person that I am, and being the one that believes in all these things that I believe in, but then simultaneously being so hyper aware of like, but Earth is, it's no way it's just Earth, guys. Like, it's just, there's just no fucking way. If Earth was created by a Big Bang theory, then there's no way a similar planet exists in the vast fucking universe. I mean, scientists are finding planets that have literally just water right now, which at one point it was just like Earth. So it's just like, you know, just penny for your thoughts, I guess.
Cape Kennedy, Florida, June 3rd, 1965. Titan II rockets lift the Gemini 4 spacecraft into orbit. Astronauts James
Oh!
and Edward
Oh!
circle.
Oh! Ads are about to start. My bad, guys. Actually, that means that I have to say goodbye to TikTok. Oh, ads are about to start. 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 Ads, ads, ads. Top of the hour ads. I appreciate you guys for watching them. Thank you so much for being here. If you are coming from TikTok, I just wanted to say a huge thank you for spending quality time with me. I would appreciate if you want to come, hang out, join the red app or the purple app at any point if you desire, or you can come hang out tomorrow when we're playing Tomb Raider. Actually, Kags, yes, I can give you Frida today. Frida! Sit. I believe I can today. Hello? Hold on. That is not it. Oh, the camera's way too up. Oh, Frida! You're so cute. Frida. Come back here. You're a star, baby. Lemon pepper wings. Oh, somebody got ad. Let me bring you back. Good girl, Frida. Oh, you got two dogs today. Finian and Frida. They're both looking for treats. Big shout out to TikTok for hanging out for a little bit. I would love for you guys to come hang out over the red app and the purple app. If you have any moment, if you have a chance, if you have the opportunity, come hang out with us. Or if not, just wait till tomorrow. And we'll definitely be playing some Tomb Raider stuff by then. Have a beautiful night, TikTok. We'll see you on the purple app or the red app or tomorrow. Bye. Bye, TikTok. Yeah, bye, TikTok. Bye, TikTok. Bye, TikTok. Confirm. Bye, TikTok. Close the damn. Close the damn. Close it. Close it. There we go. Freedom. Finian is on my left right now, actually. Yeah, you can do it. Yeah. All right, sit. We actually take classes coming up. We have classes coming up in like 2 weeks. I have to get her stuff ready. To join the classes, because I have to bring vaccination records. But I was thinking about it yesterday, and I was like, God, I'm kind of worried that she's not gonna pass the classes, man. I think she will, you know, but who fucking knows? Who fucking knows, bro? Just got hit with the same ad twice. Oh my God. Frida, come. Girl, we're not even at freaking 10 minutes. What you doing? Say hi to the camera. Stay. I think she's food motivated though, so she might actually do. Yours are about what? Why are you about prep? Oh my God. Okay. You said lemon pepper wings. Did you get an ad about, was it a Wingstop ad? I've been getting those a lot. It makes me want to get Wingstop so badly. So badly. They're like, here for your whole summer. You stupid. Oh god, jeez, bro. Ow, my finger, Frida. God. Okay, what were you talking about? Oh yeah. Frida starts classes officially. She starts beginner classes in like a couple weeks. So y'all about to see us either pass or fail. We'll be practicing our stuff on stream, right, Frida? Because we need to do our homework together and become better. And Lord knows that I didn't waste my money for us to not pass our classes. Yes? Yes. Finian is still on my left. Finian, do you want to come here? You come say hi. Finn, come. Come say hi. Here's my senior dog, Finn. This is Finian. Say hi, Bubba. Florence is not here. No thoughts in the head. No, for real, they don't. Literally no thoughts. He's I don't know how old he is. I just know he's old as fuck now. But still has a lot of puppy energy in him, to be honest. He's pretty great. He's been around since I moved out here in Colorado. So we've been together for almost like 7 years. And then obviously you guys know Frida, but I can bring Florence out. Florence! Florence, come! Florence! Hello. Hi, honey. Come here. Come. Can you come say hi? Fluffle, come. No, this way. Come here. Florence, come. And then this is Florence. She's kind of much bigger. Florence, come here. Right here. Lady, come here. Yeah, good girl. This is Florence. She's a couple years old. She's such a cutie patootie. Honestly, like looking at her, she's so gorgeous. It's frightening how gorgeous she is. She's the most educated dog out of all three of them, to be honest. Finian is like street smart. Florence is like educated smart. They're all really good though. Finian, if Finian wasn't food motivated, I feel like I'd be fucked. Because I definitely didn't take any classes with him, but he's such a food motivated dog that he will go and do a full on obstacle, a dog course that you see in one of those dog competition channels, and will do it perfectly as long as he gets that fucking hot dog. Do you understand me? As long as he fucking gets that hot dog, we're good to go. He will jump circles. He will jump the ring of fire for me if he needs to. Florence will understand commands, but isn't really food motivated. She would rather snuggle you up and be like curled up like a little puppy, even though she's about like, I don't know how fucking big she is, but humongous. Yo, same, but Atlanta's lower. Yes. Let me go back. Okay. Okay. Thank you for the hydrate, Nachos. Appreciate it. And the stretch. Friend of mine's dog won the agility nationals in their category several years ago. It was a beautiful run. I would have cried. If I had the opportunity to do that, I would cry. Finia would be able to do it. And this is just a reminder to everybody to put your dogs on a leash. Finn has been probably one of the best dogs I've ever had in my life. But then one day I went to a restaurant that was also like / doggy park vibes outside. So we were out hanging out and we were all in the doggy park and he's never had issues. And then this toy obsessive dog, like not even just have your dog on a leash, because we have been attacked by dogs off leash, Finian, unfortunately, but if you know your dog is like toy obsessive, like pay attention to what they're doing because sometimes that could cause a lot of issues. I was paying attention to him and in comes the dog out of nowhere. I didn't realize how bad it was until we left the restaurant that a piece of Finian's cheek was missing. And ever since that day, he hasn't been okay with other dogs except for our pack, obviously. Finian's paws. So it's like a whole thing now where I have to be super cautious about how to introduce him to other dogs. If it wasn't for that though, I would go into like these agility course classes. Agility course competition shows with him because he will do it. Like I remember, I think I still have it on Snapchat. There's like a video of like my old apartment complex that they had installed a whole like agility course in it, and we were going in and out, 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 and I had posted it, and everybody was like, "How the fuck did you train your dog to do that?" I was like, "I don't know. He just knows." I just adopted him, and he figured it out. What I learned was that he just likes food. What if Atlantis is the other city that the Hindu deities fought against the Hindu mythology? That's a great question. Could be. Would there have been much overlap?
The Earth 62 times in 4 days.
Travel wise.
Famously achieving the first ever spacewalk by an American. As part of their mission, the astronauts take hundreds of photos that offer an unprecedented view of our planet. But one particular picture attracts attention because it shows a structure that looks like a massive eye sitting in the middle of the Sahara Desert.
Spotted something that looked like an enormous 30-mile circular shape. Center, surrounded by concentric rings of stone and sand. And it looked just like a giant eye from all the way up in space. Hence, it came to be known as the Eye of the Sahara.
More than 50 years after the Eye of the Sahara was revealed to the world, it remains a fascinating enigma and a striking sight to behold. Locals call it the Kalb al-Rishat, or the Rishat structure. And this unique formation has raised more questions than answers.
How far is Asia from that area then? Because now I'm trying to think about where the Greeks were. But then Africa is connected in ways to Greek mythology as well. Yeah, but then I'm thinking about formations back when they were then. Because the way our planet looks, there's no way it still looked like that back then. Did it? Or was it still a little bit... One day, I'm gonna interview a fucking scientist about this shit. Okay. Right? That's happening. I'm thinking about the way that word has traveled, because Greek mythology also has influences from Turkish stuff. That I know from Hecate or Hecate. So Turkish stuff is also influencing that. And then part of Turkey is also Asia. So I'm thinking about like how a lot of like, I don't know why I'm thinking about this, but I'm thinking about how a lot of the folklore is just because of the region specifically where it's at, the way that I'm seeing. There's no way there's not an overlap of a lot of these things, and there's possibility of all of these places like Southeast Asia and like all these things having some sort of interconnectedness through its folklore and how it tells the stories. From what I remember from the Hindu mythology, the other city was floating and went to them, and their city went up and they fought in the skies. And the description of their weapons basically sound like energy weapons and nukes. The land was connected somewhere in the Middle East, I think. Yeah, actually, that would make sense if so. Because of the way things are connecting and how I keep going back to Turkey, actually. Because Turkey is like the middle ground of, like, you'll see this. Like, part of it will be touching, like, Europe and all these other places. And then the other part of it is touching Asia in ways. Is it Europe or the Middle East? I can't remember. The land is connected somewhere in the Middle East. Like I said, it's no coincidence that all these Asian cultures have depictions of dragons. Yes. Yes. At least if you're talking about that particular region, yeah, 1,000%. They all have some sort of depiction of dragons. I believe technically in South and North American, we do have some slight mentions of it, but it's not to a deep extent. I think it's At least I don't think so. But there are statues, at least from the Incans, that depict like a lizard-esque, dragon-esque stuff. Oh yeah, Frida's out. What's up, Sean? We're all talking about like Aztec, Maya, China, Japan, Southwest Asia. Here's my theory, Mess. I think I've said this to you. I think there's more. I think every time I say this, I feel like people often, especially in Mexico and Peru, there's this constant debate of like who's better and who's not. And I almost want to be like, shut the fuck up, stop saying that. Because if you think about it, North and South America specifically, and its region tours down, and if you're specifically talking about indigenous folks within those areas, there's a higher chance we're all more related than we're willing to accept. And the only reason why we keep doing this, we're better off now, is because of some Spaniard that decided to do a competition about who has a better food plate. And it's really stupid that a lot of this got more intense over the last year because of what has happened and people trying to like pick the best dish, morning breakfast dish. It's just stupid. But anyway, I think there's an overlap of cultures that happens within North and South America, and there's more connection to me with our cultures in that region, the same way that I often see more connections of cultures and folklore in, like, let's say the regions where Africa, Europe, and Middle East / Asia are connected. We got the East Blue. We're talking about, it's spooky night. We're talking about spooky things, but then we started talking about Atlantis. And now we're talking about the Sahara Desert. The Eye of the Sahara is likely Atlantis. But then now we're also talking about how we all have dragons in our lore. And Atlantis did come up because of spooky stuff.
The Richat structure is located off the coast of Northwest Africa in the middle of the Sahara Desert. This formation is considered to be a geological feature.
This is honestly, Cags, this is the most ADHD fucking stream we've had, because we went from talking about ghost and spirit, haunting, ocean probably holding spirit, to then space, to then talking about Atlantis because that's your special interest, to then us like going into culture and the mesh of cultures and how things migrate from one thing to the other. Because then I had mentioned Hecate and like her lore as a deity and how that's all technically a Turkish thing, but then also still a Greek thing because of the way migration and stories are told. But then Mess is like, all of these people also have like an overlap of, it's fascinating. History is fascinating. Spookiness in general overall, because we don't fucking know if it's like, it could be, I believe it. Can't remember if it's South or North America folklore that talks about the rise of the condor, South America, and the eagle, North America. Yes. So that is Incan, that's Incan lore, basically. It's like a big thing in Peru, actually. The condor starts through, it's Peruvian, Bolivian, and I think Ecuadorian. A huge chunk of it is prominently in the Peru regions, though, through the Incan Empire, I believe, if I'm correct. Don't quote me on that, but it does start within those regions. So we do the condor specifically, and then yes, you're correct, North America goes from the eagle. But yeah,
that is volcanic in nature. However, there is still scientific mystery to it. For example, what's so wild about this site is its spectacular fashion of concentric circles, which are a total anomaly.
Actually, if you ever see if you're in like South America and you're like in the Peruvian, in the Andes area, and you find yourself with a condor around, you better take that spiritually. Like that is, they're around in the spaces, but like it's rare to see, and they're humongous. Those animals are fucking humongous, guys. Like I'll show you, it's spooky on its own. I think it'll be fitting for the stream. I'll show you what it looks like, but it's like those birds are huge. And you look at them and they feel like dinosaurs, to be honest. They are, it's just spiritual. That's all I'll say. It's as honestly spiritual as seeing a fucking eagle sometimes. When you look at an eagle or like a hawk. I fucking love if a hawk ever spawns out of nowhere in my path. I've only ever had 2 experiences where a hawk has like willingly come nearby me. I take that as spiritual experiences. I've always done so. But yeah, like if you guys ever are somehow in South America and you find yourself near a condor, like take that moment, take a deep breath. Don't do anything because those fuckers are huge. But take it as like a sign of something because it is a stunning moment to have them nearby you. You ever heard about the bird that sounds like a gun? No.
The Richat structure is truly one of a kind.
What bird sounds like a gun?
Like anywhere else on Earth.
While the Eye of the Sahara continues to puzzle experts, in recent years, a remarkable new theory about this mysterious structure has been presented. It's believed that this location could have once been the site of a fabled island kingdom that has never been found. The legendary lost city of Atlantis.
Waiting for the
The
punchline.
story of Atlantis comes down to us from the Greek philosopher Plato. Plato describes Atlantis as a huge island, and he says that on this island was this incredibly advanced civilization. Atlantis had been founded by the gods themselves, by Atlas, and before that Poseidon, and it was ruled over by the descendants of these gods.
Atlantis is a compelling mystery to us because it's been a part of our Western society for a long, long time, and yet we've never found it. Now, recently it's been suggested that the Richat structure, also known as the Eye of the Sahara, might be a contender for this. Not many people normally locate Atlantis in the Sahara, but that's not as far-fetched as it might sound. When you think of the Sahara now, you think of just vast sand, but it used to be a very lush green environment.
With recent scientific studies, we now know that the Sahara Desert was a tropical paradise up until 5,000 years ago. It had some of the largest network of rivers ever known to exist. It had the largest freshwater lake ever known to exist, which is Mega Lake Chad. There is
What?
sea life. Mollusks have been found in and around the Richat structure. There are massive salt deposits, which is evidence that the ocean had once settled and later evaporated there. So, the Sahara Desert as we see it today, and the area around the Richat structure, is simply not what it was in prehistoric times.
But even if the Eye of the Sahara was really the site of Atlantis, then it begs the question, what happened to the ruins of the city? Because no remnants of ancient buildings have ever been found at this location.
No, for real.
May lie in Plato's account of the fall of Atlantis.
Plato describes this amazing, sophisticated city, and yet the more they acquired, they were not satisfied. They kept reaching, until, according to Plato, they incurred the wrath of the gods.
What's interesting is that the Eye of the Sahara is approximately 250 miles inland off the Atlantic coast. And what's so fascinating is that when you look at it from space, you can see clear evidence of catastrophic water erosion. These massive striations that anyone can see. This shows that a force of water that goes far beyond anything we ever thought was possible bulldozed right over the Eye of the Sahara, going from east to west to the Atlantic Ocean, which matches that Atlantis was said to have been destroyed in a cataclysmic water event. So, if the ruins of Atlantis were to be found, it's going to be off the Atlantic coast.
If
Oh.
we could learn a lot from that. It would
Do you
make
believe me now?
our past.
I believe you.
Atlantis, this Sahara civilization could be almost an origin story for human civilization, certainly in that part of the world.
I mean, it would make sense. Hold on, let me see if I can come back here. Sit. Good job. Hold on, let me show you guys something. Hold on. Have aliens visiting Earth millions of years? No. Hold on. These fucking animals are gigantic. Not the California condor. Condor. Honestly, like South American condors literally don't feel real to me.
This is Lucas, the Andean condor. With wings that spread up to 10 feet apart, the Andean condor is one of the...
Bitch, that shit is double my size. Its wingspan is double my height. I commented that I thought it was the city of Atlantis. They commented that it was near water. Once I posted that on TikTok in some random video, and the comment came up that it was like, oh, that's not where near water. I didn't respond. But literally, hello? That makes no sense. Cause I mean, I understand why you're saying that. I also am just kind of like, do people forget that technically our regions are not technically what they used to look like? So like even Colorado does not look like what it used to. Again, Colorado used to be a tropical zone. Like trees used to be bigger. If I remember correctly, the English coast shows signs of some kind of water impact that eroded in the way it is today.
Largest
Which
flying
would
birds in the world.
I believe it.
Found throughout the Andes Mountains, the condor is a national symbol of many South American countries. The condor
It's
has a halo
huge!
scar, which changes color depending on their emotional state. In the male, there is a fleshy crest on the crown of their head, used to attract females. It is also one of the longest living birds, with some condors living for more than 70 years. It is a scavenger bird, traveling over 100 miles a day to find carcasses along the Andes Mountains and sometimes all the way into the South American coast. The condor population is in decline, mostly due to the destruction of its natural habitat, as well as lead poisoning from carcasses shot by hunters. This is the Andean condor.
They're so pretty. Anyway. What it changes things over time. What it could have obliterated Atlantis if there was a catastrophic event like a tidal wave and tsunami. Then we question how Plato figured that information out. So it's just kind of like, I don't know. I don't necessarily often think that lore, like folklore, was something factual, but I also don't think that they're coming up with it out of their ass. Does that make sense? Like, I think to an extent, some of the writings that people did, they did it because that was their way of telling some sort of history, even if it just came out a little bit more colorful in the way that they was scripted. But maybe we as humans today do not understand the way the humans used to speak back then, and maybe things feel a little bit more colorful in the way that they talked back then. There could also be translation issues, but I don't know. I think it's completely possible, to be honest. Yeah, like think about how Shakespearean, actually, let's use him as an example. Think about Shakespeare and the way he talks and writes. That is one form of language, the English language specifically, right? Now we understand it and are able to comprehend it a little bit better than we probably would have things that were written prior to that. I do believe that there is such thing as just being a little bit more imaginative in regards to how we describe things. But when we're translating it to today, I think it probably is a little harder for people to understand it. Doesn't mean that we can't figure out what it is that they're saying, as we already have. That's what we know Plato was able to write it. But I wonder if there's something else that we are actually truly missing. And I don't take that as like a, I don't fully not believe it. I take it as like he must have gotten that information from somewhere. Could have been tales upon tales upon tales, because back in the day, history was just constantly told through word of mouth. But that doesn't necessarily make it untrue. And we can either just learn from it, figure it out, and then see if we can find things that can tie back to it to see if it's true history in its own. Most folklore originates from word of mouth as well, so it isn't explained that well. Yeah. Shakespeare said, I'm gonna rage bait this country. Could've.
It's that time of year when we all want to hear a good old-fashioned ghost story. In the Middle Ages, many of these tales were often loaded with hidden meaning for the listener and tried to explain the unexplainable to their medieval audience. Some come from the Viking sagas, others were written by members of the church.
I saw this and I just wanted to play it. Also, reminded me that Ren Fair season's about to start, so y'all are gonna be sick of me. I gotta figure out my outfits.
And others have been passed down verbally through families. Many of the monastic ghost stories involve a dead person pleading for help from the living to lessen their suffering in the afterlife. Here are some of those creepy tales about shapeshifters, witches, ghosts, and demons that would have gripped listeners more than 1,000 years ago. Welcome to Medieval Madness.
And then there's the hop of civilization and how we've evolved as people from this period of time to like Greek time. Isn't that fucking crazy? Isn't it fucking crazy to see how humans have evolved throughout times? And if you look at it through periods of times, it's actually kind of fucking insane. Concept of time is crazy to me.
The Bloody Head. The 10th and 11th century abbot and prolific chronicler Alfric of Ancient told a tale about a saint named Edmund who handed himself over to the Vikings. Edmund hoped to stop them from raiding the English coast by converting them to Christianity, but they just laughed at him, and after torturing Edmund, they chopped off his head and threw it into the forest. According to church rites at that time, the head needed to be buried with the body so that a person was whole when they stood before God on the Day of Judgment. Someone who had seen the execution had a good idea where the head had been thrown. A search party went into the woods and called out to Edmund's soul. Eventually, they heard the head call back to them. Here, here, here! The head was being guarded by a wolf, which kept any other animals from feeding on it. After the recovery of his head, Edmund was buried as a martyr. The Domain of the Dead.
What?
Important historian of the Holy Roman Empire, Thietmar of Mersburg, included stories of vengeful spirits in his chronicles.
Bro, with the airs like he was just chilling.
He said, quote, "My niece Brigid, the abbess of St. Laurent Monastery, told me this tale about Bishop Baudry from Utrecht. The church in the city of Deventer had been partially destroyed by the Slavs, so the bishop gave permission for it to be renovated and reconsecrated. A priest was put in charge of the operation. One morning, the priest witnessed dead people inside the church, singing psalms and celebrating mass. He told the bishop, who ordered the priest to sleep inside."
Y'all want to know my theory about this? Like seeing ghosts and stuff? I think places hold energetic like fields. And I think scenarios of the past repeat. And that's what I think spirit world is like, or the concept of spirit world. I think is energy charges, especially depending on its history. And you'll find yourself seeing spirits or energies doing its routine back and forth through its space. And an example of that, not its routine, but like things that have happened there. And an example of that. Oh, they're fighting. Oh, said bitch. Okay. An example of that is if you guys have ever been to the 9/11 site, the memorial. I've seen spiritual folks talk about how, even non-spiritual folks talk about it, how the memorial itself feels like an energy space, like it just feels dense in there, which obviously tragedy has happened there. And there's stories of people seeing, like, people hearing footsteps going downstairs in the space. You'll hear like footsteps. That's like one of the stories I've heard constantly from some people, including the people that have done like the full-on memorial for 9/11, like the mural. People see apparitions of people that are lost, confused, and stressed about what's happening. So in my opinion, that stuff, everything that happened there, it's like a cycle of energy and like repetition that the spirit itself, the energy itself, might have experienced during that moment. And it's not always tragedy. It could also be just something that they're used to doing. Like at the Stanley Hotel here in Colorado, one of the apparitions that appears constantly is of a maid. She's the lady that actually passed away at the Stephen King room specifically. And she was a maid that just constantly was, she was just known to work there. And she passed away from a gas leak explosion in that room. But she was seen very much the next day in spirit form, or she was seen, but she was dead, by people that worked at the hotel, clocking in for her shift again and going into work. So the concept for me when it comes to spirits and energies is more like, I think we live in this realm. I probably sound crazy. It's fine. You guys don't have to believe this, but it's just like a theory. I think we see things we are taught to see things in such a linear way, but I believe there is more than just what meets the eye. And I think in different realms, whether it's spirit or energies, whatever you believe in, because I do believe in energies, if anything, they intertwine and just continue going on with their day, depending on like where you are, but then sometimes they interact. and that's why we see ghosts, basically. I don't know if that makes sense. I can try to explain it again, but I geek out over this stuff. The Japanese believe that as well, places in great emotion can cause spirits and energy to remain there. Yes. And when you say great emotion, I also believe it's just if the person has like some sort of attachment to that space, then I think that they'll continue to be there. That's why I mentioned the maid from the Stanley Hotel, which is the Stephen King hotel that inspired The Shining. I think she just had an emotional attachment with the hotel, so she's just going back to work. And like when she's seen, she's just working. She's just used to seeing things, and cleaning things and doing her rounds. So like when she appears, it's more like I don't think she intends to be like a negative Sally kind of like situation, a bad spirit. I think she's just, roaming her routes because that is the energy that she had in that place, and that's the prominence and importance that she carried in that place. What is the stone tape theory?
The church. The next night, the priest found himself being physically thrown out of the church by the dead, along with the bed that he was sleeping on. Upset and visibly shaken, the priest went back to the bishop. Now he was ordered to sprinkle holy water around the church and surround himself with holy relics. Under no circumstances must you leave the church which is in your care, the bishop told him. Afraid but determined to carry out his duty, the priest stayed in the church the next night and lay awake. The dead came and lifted up his body before placing it on the altar. Then they lit a kindling fire around him and held his body down until he burned to death in the flames. When the bishop heard what had happened, he ordered that a penitent mass should be held for 3 days. That way the priest would receive the help he needed for his soul to enter heaven. A demonic visitor. The French Benedictine chronicler Rodolphus Glaber began his account of the history of Burgundy and France in 1028. It included this vivid story of his own experience when meeting the devil. Rodolphus the monk was staying.
The stone tape theory is that limestone will be tapping in emotional energy, which makes the spirit loop there for life. Ah. Yeah, that makes sense. Limestone has a lot of energy, apparently. Places that are made out of limestone also are very active, by the way.
At St. Lega Monastery in Chamcou. It was just before matins in the darkness of early morning. A shrunken little man approached him from the foot of the bed. The figure had a frightening appearance.
Damn!
He was medium-sized with a scrawny neck, an emancipated face, and coal-black eyes. The forehead was deeply creased and lined. The nose was thin, and he had a wide mouth with flabby lips. His like beard spread over a pointed chin, back, and his legs were shaking. His clothing was filthy, and his whole body quivered. He grabbed hold of the bed head and suddenly hit it, and said, "You will not stay here," and the ghoul was still there. Gnashing his teeth, he repeated the same thing over and over again. "You will not stay here any longer." The monk jumped out of bed and ran towards the altar of the Blessed Father Benedict. Once there, he prostrated himself and lay there terrified for a long time. Rodolphus tried to remember all of the serious transgressions that he had committed throughout his life. He became very aware that he had seldom repented, out of fear and love for God's holiness. So as he lay there despondent and confused, he repeated, "O Lord, who came to save us sinners, have pity upon me in your great mercy."
You know what is something that I've been thinking a lot about? I've been thinking a lot about how, well, big shout out to the Pope right now, because he's the only one willing to out loud say the words, God doesn't want prayers from people starting wars. But also somebody that's no longer fucking religious anymore, but also very still kind of fascinated by the concept of religious history specifically, especially as like indigenous background individual that also is deconstructing religion in general throughout life, because what really is religion if my ancestors died for having their beliefs to have to believe for something else, that's like a big thing I think about often. This is gonna sound so stupid, but my friends laugh every time I mention it, and I'll say it here. I think it's so fascinating that, like, okay, so God and Jesus specifically, they're all deities in a sense, right? They're deities for each religion. And imagine a circle. Imagine a round table, right? A dinner hangout where every deity of every possible religion is hanging out. I don't know why this popped up in my head, but I'm going to say it. The Jesus pops up and he's like, everybody's telling how their devotees are doing, aka the people following the religions are doing, right? And Jesus pops up and he's like ready to talk about what's happening right now. Can you imagine how he would start that conversation to every other deity and be like, you're not gonna believe what these bitches are doing. You're not gonna believe what the fuck these bitches are doing. He wouldn't say it like that, right? I guess. But can you imagine what that conversation would be like? I mean, like, they wrote about me breaking barriers and these bitches are fucking building the barriers. Like, how do we start this conversation? Anyway, the other thing I wanted to say is, like, it is fascinating that the Catholic Church only has a specific group or a specific number of priests and fathers that are allowed to, by order, to do exorcisms. That fact, to me, is fascinating. And then nobody else can do it. Which leaves me to wonder, what the fuck? And how do you get to that point of getting approval to do exorcisms? Almost sounds like the Devil's Storming Ground in North Carolina, where if you sleep on the outcrop of a circle, you wake up the next day from the spot circle. Devil's Stomping Ground. Wait, I've heard about that. Look, these Arabic religions can't even grasp that. Yeah. But the concept of, like, I often joke about it. I'm like, man, can you imagine him just like sitting and like all of these deities exist? Like, he's just in a round table. It's like Jesus, La Santísima is in the corner, Hecate is in another. You got some Greek mythology over here, whatever, right? They're all there. And then in comes Jesus, and they're all talking about how their devotees are doing. And then Jesus comes in to be like, y'all, I don't know what and how this happened, but you're not going to believe this shit. Like, Abrahamic. So, my dyslexia. My dyslexia wants to say something else. Sorry, miss. Thank you for correcting me. But it's just like, because how does that work with the Trinity as well? Yeah. But I mean, you have to think about it from a perspective of, like, it's the same way that Wicca is looked as a colonist. Ooh, I apologize if I'm insulting anybody, but I'm also not going to not shy away from this perspective. Christianity and Wicca go hand in hand in the sense of they are created and evolved through taking from other religions. If we were to be legit right now, all of them overlap in a sense. History was never this bad, but they all take away and harm from other religions. It's just some of them, like, for example, Christianity have more history of doing the colonizer thing specifically and take it away and harming other people. That's why I often tell people, like I believe there's a chance of, like, something being out there, right? I'm already a devotee of a couple things anyway, but I often look into it from a perspective of, like, I can't follow. This is my personal thing. This is not what you have to follow. I, as somebody who has indigenous roots, as somebody who has, like, even Afro-Latino roots, and is very proud of their culture, I can't follow a book anymore because that book caused a lot of harm for my ancestors. And that book was justified to erase genocide. That book was used as a form to justify genocide of multiple people of my own lineage. So it's almost like, how, especially as a person of color, how does one continue to follow it? But I also try really hard to kind of, like, have a full understanding of other things. And I'm just like, there's a high chance that this isn't who they think they're talking to. And it's all in disguise. Look, I take my offerings and dances to, I mean, I have my own deity. So it's like, I don't talk about it often with you guys, but it's just kind of like, it's been my way to decolonize the concept of religion, especially as a person of color. I'm not saying you don't have to follow Christianity, Catholicism, Islam, or whatever, all these things, right? But for my personal experience, when it comes to the umbrella of Christianity specifically, it's difficult for me to kind of like sit down and read and like continue consuming all of that and like justify a lot of it, to be honest. One, because it was written by a white man, and then two, it caused a lot of harm for my communities. So it's like, why would I? There were teachings and practices that were created pre all of the colonialism. So why not go back into your roots and kind of like understand and comprehend all that stuff? That's why I also like talking about spirits, because I think people are too afraid of the concept of the dead. And I think that comes from what was that term that was clocked back in the 70s about the fear of demonic stuff that came from the Christians? I can't remember. Look at this mafioso, fight me. Sean already bullying me. Do you guys remember what that term is? It's like something fear? No. Demonic fear? No. Satanic panic. Thank you. Satanic panic. That anything spiritual is like a no. Satanic panic. And it's almost like still heavily applied because it's used against people that do anything like witchcraft. Mind you, witchcraft isn't anything other than positive vibes and manifesting good things. And if people really want to really dive into it, prayer is a spell. So like fear of short people? No, Sean, not that one. Satanic panic. Satanic panic. Who was it that said that if the slave and the master pray to the same God, who does the God listen to? Plot lock. Thank you for that. I fear of ALX. No. Why did you get moderated for that? That's weird. Oh, maybe I thought it was a password because of the way you spelled it. That's kind of where I'm at, honestly. If I could pin that without taking away Flutie's thing, I would. But like the reality is that I've been in the face these last couple of years of just like, why? Especially as like Latino culture, like, and as a Peruvian, because in Peru we have so much culturally that is so intertwined with the Catholic Church specifically. But if you really think about it, like the Señor de los Milagros things that they do, where they bring the mural of Jesus Christ that withstood that one, the one mural of Jesus Christ where he's depicted as a black man, basically, as a brown black man, that withstood the earthquake in Peru. And so it's looked at this like miracle mural. And so it's a procesión, which is like, Sean with the 20. If Flutie's in chat, can you roll a d20? If not, I'm gonna assign somebody else to do it. A procesión where they carry the big mural everywhere and all that stuff. Sean, you have to beat a 13. The aspect of that comes with a lot of food and cultural things that's tied back to it, right? And I thoroughly enjoy, and I often nod back to it on October doing Dia de Muertos, because my grandmother specifically was big devotee of that stuff. She was part of the processions and all these things, right? So I respect it. I use the colors often as well. But here's the thing. I just like alter it a little bit to me, and I don't mention too much the aspect of just Jesus specifically, and I alter it more focused to be about my ancestors, because the concept of carrying that mural comes from indigenous teachings of people carrying dead bodies as a procession kind of thing. And that came from like indigenous folks in the Incan stuff. It just meshed with the religious culture. And that's kind of, it goes back to like the whole colonialism thing. I have a lot of thoughts about that. Flutie, you fell for that. I knew you fell for that. LOL, I knew I get, what? Oh, you got me? Oh, damn, I didn't see it. Good one, Sean. Council of Nicaea, I believe, came in quick and changed all of the depictions of Jesus to make him white. Michelangelo ultimately played them by using the twink to paint him. That Would make sense. Nicaea. Nicaea. Thank you. That would make sense. Wasn't Michelangelo considered to be an LGBT icon? Can't remember the history behind that, but I wonder the stories he could say. Nachos almost fell for it once too. Yes. Yeah. I'm pretty sure Michelangelo was like a queer icon. He was a homo. Yeah. I talked about it a little bit during my art history classes, but I don't remember specifically going deep into it because my professor thought it was important to talk about it for the depiction of art specifically, or how he would do art and how like if you look at not medieval, during his era of, not that it's gonna sound so weird. This was like a theory and conversation in the class, but it doesn't make it factual. Some of his work is homoerotic. I'll leave it as that.
The gift of snakes and
not
toads.
all of it. It just kind of depicted that.
Was a Cistercian monk who told this tale in his book about Christian teachings and integrity. A knight died and left all of his property to his son. His great fortune had been amassed through money lending. One evening he went up to his son's door and boldly knocked on it. A servant asked why he was knocking. The knight gave his name and replied, "I am your lord, let me in." The servant peeked out, and although he recognized...
If I can recommend one thing for October, because it's also like our purple month in Peru, and you guys have like and I'll show you for a second. If you guys have like something you want to try that's a sweet treat, go to a Latino store that may have some Peruvian stuff, or just buy it online. Get something called turron. Just try it. It's like a thing we do during purple month for us, which is October for us.
The spirit, he refused him entry, saying, "My master is dead." The spectral knight continued to knock, but the servant refused to open the door. So he demanded that the servant, quote, "Take my food, which are these fish, to my son. I will leave them hanging here on the door handle." The following morning, his son had found a number of snakes and toads tied together, squirming at the door. Now we know that this is the sustenance supposedly offered in hell, and it is cooked in flaming sulfur. The Witch of Berkeley. Women were often portrayed as devious and wicked during the Middle Ages. In stories, they were often depicted as concubines, witches, and mystics.
I would like to just put in my 2 cents about this specifically. Women back in the day were considered to be really important in culture, specifically even in European aspects. They were considered healers. If it wasn't for patriarchy, because men realized that they couldn't put the effort in like women could, and so they needed to villainize them to gain some sort of power at the time. And that has been continued on throughout history. If it wasn't for that, we would still be seeing them as actual healers today. And we are. Women give life. I mean, sure, it's a tag team effort when it comes to making it happen. But the woman has to carry the baby at the end of the day. And that's a huge important part of the process. If it wasn't for patriarchy, that would be a little bit different. Just wanted to say that. Thank you.
William of Berkeley recorded this story in the 11th century. A woman practiced the dark arts of soothsaying and divination.
Back scratches do heal me. You got a point.
She realizes that this is a foreshadowing of her death. She is almost immediately informed of the death of one of her sons. She gathers together her remaining children, who are a nun and a monk, and instructs them on the religious rites that they must perform, so that she will be spared everlasting torment in the fires of hell with the monsters that she worshipped during her life. But it is all in vain. The rituals don't work, and the woman is commanded to rise out of her tomb by demons. Then she is dragged to where a fierce black horse is waiting. The horse has iron spikes all along the length of its back, and she is thrown onto the hooks, and then ridden away. A demon at the cradle. Walter Map was a cleric.
Why is it always a demon? What if it's not a demon? What if it's a different entity?
In the 12th century court of the English King Henry II. In his compilation Trinkets for the Court, written in the 1180s, some of his tales, like this next one, are of the supernatural. A knight loved his nobly born wife very much. On the morning after the birth of their firstborn child, the baby was found with...
Yo, no joke. This guy's haircut, I once had that haircut. And it was because my mom needed me to cut my hair really short. I don't know why.
...with its throat cut. The same thing happened to their second and third child.
I need to find the picture. I don't know where it is. It's pretty close to this, to be honest. You were a little lad for a minute, yeah. I don't know why the fuck my mom cut my hair so short. It's definitely a foreshadow to my future because I now like short hair, but I was a little lad, yes.
Whilst his wife was pregnant with their their fourth baby, the couple were understandably afraid. And they
My sister likes to bring up the fact that my mom cut my goddamn hair that short every once in a while because I do not understand personally why she did it. She also doesn't understand why she did it. And every once in a while, we'll ask my mom why she did it. She still doesn't fucking know why she did it. Nobody knows why it happened. It just fucking happened.
fasted and prayed many times. The boy was born safely, and fires and candles were lit all around him to protect him as the household kept watch. Then a weary stranger.
Bears and cream, bears and cream.
Hospitality in God's name, so he was welcome.
I'm a little off with
He
those
also
bears
kept
and
watch.
cream.
By the time midnight had arrived, everyone had fallen asleep, except for.
I think I found my MySpace. I think MySpace has the opportunity to do the funniest thing ever. If they wanted to. But you know, I would literally figure out how to live stream on MySpace, to be honest. But yeah, I found my MySpace a while ago, and I remember that I was constantly often deleting things from it. So it's not up to date on everything, but I was able to find one seen photo of me from like back in the day. The MySpace post is too fucking crazy.
The stranger, who saw an old.
I made sure to go back and delete mine. I deleted some
Just
things.
as she was about to slit the child's throat, the stranger grabbed her. Everyone gathered to see that the murderer was the most respected woman in the city. When she was asked her name, she would not speak.
I had that hairstyle, but with like what looked like it was all my hair, by the way. I don't know how I managed to do that. I had that hairstyle mess, but with like literally what looked like, even though it was my hair, extensions. The only thing that was missing is somebody allowing me to dye my hair multiple colors, but nobody ever did. And so I was an emo scene kid. I went through I was a nerd, first of all, that went to emo kid phase, to scene kid phase, to hipster phase, to now whatever the fuck I am as an adult, to a confused phase that has been confused for a while. What the only consistent thing from all of these phases has been that I like to wear the color black, and that's as far as it goes. I'm technically considered an alt kid from the youngins. The Swifties, they got mad at me because I said her music wasn't as iconic as it used to be, or as great as it was, or whatever. From the Swifties, they got mad at me. They all call me you alt. They said it like a slur too. I was like, why are you saying that like a slur? I would hate to. You're giving off when you're mad. You would actually say the N-word. That's the vibes you're giving. Anyway, apparently I'm alt. Just because I have tattoos, but really I use like I like the color black, but I use every color. What do you call a pony with a cough? What? Like I was an emo Tumblr boy, had my 15 seconds of fame and everything. I did too. I went viral on Tumblr for a little bit, not too long.
Her a demon and branded her face with a church key
Because I was a scene kid that was very young that had found Logo TV, which was the queer TV network and I had found literally RuPaul's Drag Race at a very young age, and so I started commentating on it in Tumblr. And apart from that, I would do a lot of poetry and post a lot of photos. So that was like a thing.
Sign of her wickedness.
A little horse, get out of here.
They believed she looked like. The good lady was sent for, and she looked identical to the demon. Even the branding mark was the same. The stranger explained that the real lady is righteous and loved.
Don't laugh at me, mess. I still do poetry, okay? And I got, you know what? All that poetry led me to some slam poetry sessions. And I actually did pretty great. To the point that now at my old age, one of my oldest friends that moved out here is asking me if we want to go to some slam poetry stuff. Leave me alone, okay? I was a very emotional kid.
My God.
Still am.
Jealous and wanted to drag her down with them. So they sent a corrupted soul in her likeness to cast wicked acts upon
Poetry.
her. Once it had been discovered and named, the demon flew out.
Because we were all emotional. Where were we supposed to do this, huh? What did one hat say to the other? What did one hat say to the other, Big Ev?
The window shrieking and howling. The ghost of an aunt.
I have a thought. Hold on. I saw a video online where people literally capture their mimics. This is like hell nah, but it was like I'm not gonna. I just want to see if I can find it. Hold on. I should have saved that video. Maybe I won't.
Number 9, The Office Ghost. In 2012, in the city of Manchester, located within the
I thought I loved school, bro. What do you mean you What do you mean you haven't loved school? I bet some of those are fake, but some seem real. I think it's a toss-up. Plus, we have AI nowadays, so I feel like it's hard. You'd have to experience it on your own. You ain't here, I'll go on ahead. Stop! Mimics freak me out. That's some Appalachian mountain stuff, to be honest. No, mimics exist in general, and I think they're a thing. They're definitely like an entity, but like I always end up catching the ones in the middle of the night from the Appalachian Mountains and like some weird stories from people living in the Appalachian. And it's like, yeah, that's some man of the wall shit. You finally graduated? Are you? What? I don't see shadow people anymore, but I used to a lot when I was younger. I kind of see that. Depends on what I'm doing. Actually, before I continue this thing, can I mention something out loud to you guys and ask you guys, like, to be honest about it? I've asked this before, but I'm just testing the waters out loud. If I were to go out with a group of people and record my experiences, because it wouldn't be my first time doing it, but finally record it and like capture it or stream it with the paranormal dabble stuff in a respectful way, because I actually I kind of get irritated with the way YouTubers do ghost hunting. I actually think it makes things worse for them specifically. But I also think unless you're genuinely grounded, everything's gonna feel chaotic. If I were to dabble into creating content based on that, would you guys be interested on seeing it? I know we've asked this question before, but would you catch it? Basically, not catch it. You don't have to do it with me, but like, you would do it. You would, yeah, okay. You guys don't have to, but I've considered, because it's something that I already kind of am interested in, have done before. We've like literally, we're just dabbling right now and like maybe going into a picnic at the cemetery. Don't know at what time though, but I have been at hotels and done things like it's not something I'm on. Since I was a kid, I've done these things. So it's like, obviously, if it's something crazier mess, I don't think my ancestors would even let me step into it. It's just something that it will talk. Like I've been inside of like museums that hold a shit ton of haunted items in there that have spirits attached to them, and I emotionally cannot be in there for long periods of time, and I have to walk out because I think although I understand it's the only place that it's safe for them to be in, because people just hyper monetize on them and it's tragic. I also think it's tragic in general that people still don't take it seriously, that there are dolls with attachments because of their connections to whoever they had. And a lot of those stories and how it became haunted is tragic. So like if it's some situations like that, you probably won't see me posting about it or like talking about it, or maybe mentioning it out loud like I am right now, but maybe not recording it. Because my ancestors were literally like, I don't know how else to explain it other than I have some weird guide situation. It's not weird. I know what it is. It's just I have like something protecting me from not going too crazy with it because I understand the boundaries that I put my body in. Does that make sense? But there are things sometimes that happen in front of me, and there are things that I have experienced on the board that I believe that I can definitely share. But I would share in a way where I feel like it would have to be educational, because ads are about to start. Ads are about to start. I've been yapping. Ads are about to start. I just feel like it's possible to be educational about it without pulling like a Sam and Colby kind of situation where one of them clearly understands the importance of being educational about it and the other one just tries to push it a little too hard. And it almost comes off disrespectful to her spirit. Oh, nah. I know what you mean, as long as you're safe about it. Agile. Sorry. Wants to see it if I feel like it in a second to make sure. I'm all about doing something twice. Yeah, that's also kind of like what I'm at, to be honest. And I almost would want to go back to the museum the last museum I went to is the one from Omaha that, I don't know if you've ever heard of this one, Cax, but there's a museum in Omaha. We were there for my wife's graduation, for her doctorate program, but we hung out. There was like a museum specifically that has like a ton of haunted items in there. Again, let me emphasize, I understand the importance. If you look at a mirror, would you technically be opening a portal and the reflection in your eyes that reflect? Yes, I do believe the mirrors are portals. I'll talk about that when you're out of Agile. The what is it called? There's a museum in Omaha specifically that has a bunch of haunted items. That was the last place I was at that was heavily energetic. I walked in there very excited with my wife. The moment we walk in, literally, one of the dolls moves. As I move forward, I think it is the Museum of Shadows. As I move forward, energy, just like the air gets fucking thicker. And I could logically explain that as just like, this feels as thick as like it would if you're at a thrift store kind of vibe. But then it just progressively gets thicker. The technology starts getting weird. And it gets to a point where my body starts feeling like it wants to cry. I'm getting uncomfortable about it, to be honest, and it's starting to feel not so safe for me to be there in any way, shape, or form. And it happened especially after, because you walk in and there are like pieces and items, and then there's the section of the Ouija boards on one side, which I don't mind, but I don't fuck with I don't know how to explain my thoughts about Ouijas. I think I'm not scared by them, but I'm not necessarily content by them, not because of it being quote unquote a portal, but more of the way that people have used them without respecting the dead. And then on this side is like a bunch of like dolls, basically. Where I start getting super emotional is basically the dolls specifically. If you start reading the stories tied to each doll, the more you progress with the stories, the thicker the energy just got for me. Technology started going weird. And so I just asked the words, do I leave? And the technology just starts getting weirder at the same time. So I was like, I don't think it wants me to be here. And honestly, I don't think I feel grounded enough to be here. I had said different words at the time because I was kind of like really uncomfortable with what was happening. And it was right before we even get to the corner. And it was like something, because it's a pathway. If you're in that, I think it is the Museum of Shadows. It's somewhere in the pathway. The dolls are here. The Ouija boards are here. The things are here, whatever. And then there's a corner that goes right here. I don't know what the fuck it was about that corner where I just felt energy like they was just not wanting me to move forward, whatever the fuck it was. And I was like, I think I need to go. Like, technology is acting weird even further. The air is getting progressively thicker. My spine does not feel that. That doll just moved. All of these dolls' energies are making me want to fucking cry right now. And I need to head out to go. Like, I need to leave. And so, we did. And I have been on this journey, especially since then, of like trying to practice staying grounded and kind of listening to my intuition, but a little bit harder, but also kind of been curious about finding a mentor to kind of have a better understanding of like what the fuck is happening, and like kind of having a better, not that I've never experienced the dead, because I'm pretty sure I've gifted family members, like it's a thing in our lineage, but it was something that it was always shone upon for me specifically, because to them it always looked like a lonely life, and I think they were always afraid for me to be a lonely person, I guess. Later on in my adulthood, I realized that it's not that it's lonely, it's that they were projecting their own experiences upon me, and they wanted to like kind of avoid that for me. With me, it's more like I never really asked for it to be my career, because I don't think it's what it's going to end up being, or I don't know. The future is endless. But I want to be as prepared as I possibly can for the possibility of something weird popping up, and me being as grounded as I possibly can without constantly being satanic panic kind of vibes. You know what I mean? And so I've always been that weird kid that has always experienced weird shit and can only logically explain it as like energies. Like this is clearly what it is. And yeah, just like now as an adult, being able to kind of like be sensitive about it to an extent, understand it. I still look at it as like, I think something is protecting me at all times when I'm dabbling into these things, but also like be mature enough in my head and prepare enough in my body to be able to handle some of these things, but also know when to walk away. I want to kind of open up the doors of being able to talk about these things in my content a little bit, not as a full-on everything we do. It's just one aspect of my life. I still want to do gaming. I still want to yap online. I still want to talk about lores and mythologies. I think all of these things are really cool to talk about, and they all in many ways implement who I am as a person. But I also would like to bring you guys along to that part of things, because I want to go back into dabbling into it and like grow and learn a little bit more, especially these as of the last year, because I've really been kind of like trying to grow in it and understand it as like, this is definitely something that is part of me. And I don't know if I want to keep ignoring it, but actually embrace it. And like, it doesn't mean I'm the next like fucking Tyler whatever medium person. I don't think that's what I am, but it's more of like, I want to not be afraid of it and know that there has definitely been family members that could do this, and just honor that that's part of my lineage. It doesn't have to be my forever, but it's definitely something that I'm grounded on and prepared for and have some sort of interest for it. Not just, you did ask about if I look at a mirror, would you technically be opening a portal of reflection in your eyes? I do believe the theory of mirrors being reflections. I think you can definitely do mirror magic or manifestations through reflections, because at the end of the day, you're looking at yourself as, if you want to look at it more literally, I believe this is gonna sound if you want to look at it more literally, I believe looking at yourself in general can build some sense of confidence, and it can help you manifest whatever it is that you want to. Michael Jackson was known of doing mirror work. But if you want to look at it into a perspective of portals, which I do believe was actually addressed through, I can't tell. I don't remember if the FBI or the CIA had talked about that specifically, and if it was on the release files. But the theory of the portal through mirrors is something that people have addressed and done research on, that it could be considered as an alternative universe and an alternative portal to an infinite version of yourself. So you're talking to it. There's also the aspect spiritually of like, it's not good if you have a mirror in front of a mirror, because it creates infinite portals of energies that come back and forth. I won't go near a devil board. You mean the Ouija? I don't mind it, but I don't like the way people use it for. I think throughout history, it was always used as a form of communication in the most kindest of way, but then like Western world kind of overdid it with its manufacture as an actual gaming board, which should have never happened in my opinion. Nah, cultural communication with the dead is a no. You only mess with them around Dia de los Muertos. For you. But I do believe that there are people that are gifted and stuff like that, and sometimes they fucking happens. The videos of this place are freaking me. Like I told you last time, my family says that I'm not going to be able to pronounce that word, so if you can write the separation of it, that would be great. If you can, miss. In our family has definitely had curanderos too, and the family has taught me to there's boundaries and those and don'ts. Yeah, for sure. And that I do believe. And that's when I say, like, I think my ancestors kind of step in a little bit of the do's and don'ts. I don't know how to explain it. I think it's them. I've had situations where I've like physically like I told everybody, bitches, this is on you. I'm leaving. I'm not doing this. But there has been times where things have just happened, and I don't know how else to explain it. But the way that my family kind of is, they're not. My mom also has had some stories. I just see it as like it's just part of my lineage. It is what it is. I accept it. I'm not an expert, and I'm not planning on being an expert, but it's always been in my curiosity to be able to honor the dead the best way that I can. I will say, though, I'm a huge believer of doing it on a constant basis. And I think it is through the stories of the dead that we often learn how to move with our future. And it also teaches me to not be so afraid of it, I think. Now else. Shapeshifters and actually witches compared to curanderos who do healing and have healing practices. Oh, that's cool. I just realized, how many asks did you do on the Red app? And there's practices, I think, that do it. I would never want you guys to do what I do if I end up showing what I do. And again, I don't fuck with Ouija boards and stuff like that, because I think I have this thought that the Western world has really took practices and consumer, like the overconsumption of things as everything being entertainment. It's literally being concerning in regards to the methods of communication and making it that accessible for people to be able to do. I do believe that everybody has the ability to be able to kind of communicate to somebody that might have best, but I don't necessarily think it's necessary for everybody to be doing it at every point without some sort of mentorship in the point of perspective. Is most of Mexico no else and consider evil, though? Is in most of Mexico they're considered evil. I think how much is that consideration of evil also satanic panic? I think it's important to know about all of these things, by the way. But I've always wondered how much of it is like satanic panic and like colonialism, religion stuff also affecting a lot of that, and like where the overlap of it happens. Because I remember, like, this is gonna sound super spiritual. I know because of my history of like getting in touch with my roots and like deity work that I've done and stuff like that. Just me, not that you guys need to do it. You can look at me like I'm crazy. It's fine. I don't give a fuck. Through the work that I've done, I know if I were to get in touch just through meditation, if I wanted to, and like, let's say something spiritually happens, right? And they decide to step forward. I know one of my grandmothers probably would have really strong feelings about it, but I also know that she would probably still allow it, because once we get into the aspect of spirit realm, if it's not just about one linear thinking, but understanding that it's completely different once you're in there. And it's not just like one particular perspective, but all. the aspects of higher self and all these things, right? But because she had those teachings in the living of like X, Y, and Z, I've always wondered how much of it was just like pure panic versus like true understanding of energies in a sense. I don't know. This all sounds like crazy. You guys are probably gonna be like, she's crazy, guys. Why are we watching ALX? Yep, that happens when you lack culture. You take from others and you get surprised when you end up in the back rooms. Speaking of back rooms, I do want to watch that trailer. Noels. Definitely, I think Noels also have history of resistance, especially during the Inquisition. And that's when you mentioned witches, right? And I wonder to what extent was it the introduction of higher patriarchy perspective? This is gonna sound, I feel like I need to go puff puff or something. I love having these conversations. Historically speaking, I wonder how part of it is it just them fighting the higher patriarchy shit that would come in through colonialism, because technically witches, which were considered healers through matriarchal practices, through like history, even in Europe, always considered healers, were looked as witches by, unfortunately, men, because of whatever thing that they were trying to control at the time. In comes in religion, Christianity, the church. A movie recommendation for you is also a book, Bless Me, Ultima. I'll look at that up. It's about a boy who meets a curandera. There are parts of Mexico where saying which or identifying as one isn't bad or evil. That I do know. And it's the same thing in certain parts in South America. Not all of them, but there are places in South America especially that you can technically talk about it. Really, a lot of them are just green witches. They just work with nature, but are considered healers nonetheless and stuff like that. Going to hop off, going to have a weird dreams tonight now. Good night, Cags. You'll be fine. I would say just cleanse your room, but I don't think I'm a portal right now. Nah. Thank you for the stretch. I also forgot about the stretch nachos, and thank you for the stretch nachos. Big stretch. It's mostly the areas where Christianity is prevalent and anything not Judeo-Christians is bad. Yes. Okay, similar to me. Or like, I guess you could say in more major cities, it's more welcoming now. In South America, not that it's everything, but it's more welcoming because modern culture and society has like now used it, gone back to a phase of like seeing it as an actual job, but which it is, it totally is, but like it's now more accepting versus what it was when we were probably younger. I also can't help but like think about how the other day I was driving around, and I couldn't help but realize that there was like a church here, and then 2 blocks ahead there was a church over there, and then 2 blocks ahead after that there's another church over here, and they all are the same religion. And I'm like, why is there so many churches? Because when I grew up in Peru, churches were not, and they're still not technically, not as much, at least as in America. Churches are not that common to be found because community is a thing, and you can still go to the other church and be in that community. So in my head, I was just like, this is now sidetracking. Now this is ADHD Alex. In my head, I'm like, why is there such a competitive culture for church in America? All with congregation of 10, I bet. I don't, like, no shade. I genuinely just want to know, why is there literally the same religion? Why does the same religion have 3 churches within a span of 4 blocks? I can drive to one and choose one. Why do we need to have multiple? That's all I'm saying. And then I don't know. Martin Luther would like a word with you. Stop. They're all white people too. Just now that you mentioned that, they're all white people churches. I just thought about that the other day. I was just kind of like, why is there so many churches? Knowing that there's a tax benefit too to churches in America also makes me kind of concerned about why there's so many churches. But you know, when you go and invite us to the wedding, what wedding? I already had my wedding. Ben had my wedding. And I eloped, motherfucker. I wouldn't have a big party. That's not my vibes. We put all the money into buying a home, and that's where I'm at. And that if you guys were to ever ask me what my thoughts about marriage are, is don't spend your money on people that are only there for the food and have demands for themselves. Don't have a party to accommodate your parents' wishes. Don't do anything that makes you feel like you're forcing yourself, when in reality you should do something that makes you happy. Now, if that is a big party, then good for you. Go have a party. But for me, that was an elopement in the middle of the woods, because we were allowed to in the state that we live in. And we found a couple aspen trees under the fall with literally just orange leaves everywhere near a little river. And we set our stuff. We don't need in Colorado, you don't need an officiant, whatever it's called, a person to do it, and you don't need a witness. So we were able to do it on the aspen trees by ourselves. We don't need a witness, but Colorado also allows you to have your pet as a witness. The only thing that we regret not doing that day was grabbing our dog's paw prints and putting it on the marriage certificate. You're writing off. Sean, I'm sorry. That's on me. I didn't realize 5 years ago I was going to be here in the future fucking apologize to somebody I've met in the last couple months virtually because I didn't invite him to my elopement in the middle of nowhere. That's my bad, G. I didn't realize if future me was going to regret that. That just means it's a good reason to do a vow renewal with popular. Oh, you know what, Flutie? That's a great fucking idea. And I need to do it. It's stat. Finian's getting older, and I feel like it needs to happen. You see, they're trying to pass a law where churches could become political and not lose their tax exempt status. That shit is crazy. That cannot happen. That cannot happen. That cannot happen. They already have a lot of political. They already respectfully, separation of church and state is a big thing, and and honestly, churches already have a lot of political sway because of a lot of the lack of mental health things that need to happen in America. But I mean this in the nicest way possible. You can't be political if you all. How do I explain this? Oh God, I mean this respectfully. So many churches want to have some sort of influence in political status, but yet so many of them fail to talk about what's happening with ICE right now, and so many of them fail to talk about the wars right now, but yet they want to talk about loving thy neighbor. So it's like, if you're gonna have political sway, why the fuck aren't you speaking up for people? Again, if you're supposed to be breaking barriers, because that's what he did, and you would hate what he would have done at the temple, because the shit that happened at the temple is exactly what happened at that one church whose pastor was one of the leads at the for ICE in Minneapolis. But whatever. If that's your perspective, then why the fuck aren't you talking about people's lives? But you know, they want to have some people want to have political sway as religious figures, right? Whatever. I know someone who's ordained and can do it. We don't have to. Like, well, You don't have to technically have somebody that's ordained in Colorado. Honestly, though, I will say this. I've thought about getting my license and be able to marry people. I would love, that's a bucket list item. Can somebody let me marry them? Marry them. No. As in, sorry. Not me. No, my bad. I don't mean that as in like me marrying them. Like me, Alex, marrying that person. I mean like me marrying that person to their person. That is a bucket list item. No. But I mean, no shit on that either. You can get your polycule, baby. Yes. Sean about to do the rain dance. Oh my god. Can you go back in towns? It's not required. It's easy to do. Officiate their service. Ah. Wait, doesn't it cost money? Still though? No. Sorry. I was thinking about if you're not for vow renewals. But I'm saying for certain states where most of my people live in, I would still need to go get the certificate in like Universal Life Church. She already hates me every time I'm in here. I don't hate you, Sean, but you do deserve a one too every once in a while. I think I've heard a lot of people say that they're ordained from the Universal Life Church because they're pretty fast. But that is like a legit like life goal of mine. I would love to be the one. Okay, this is me manifesting it. People, oh my god. Here. Chat, let's manifest together. Okay, we're gonna manifest together. I, Alex, in the future, under this full moon, will like the opportunity to continue being abundant, debt-free, healthy, filled with love and lots of growth, but also ordained so I can marry anyone that may need me. And you better hope you're not my best friend because I'm gonna embarrass you while I'm up there. Then let's fight one day. Sean, do you know a combat game? All right, but do you know a combat game that you can play online in crossplay, like cross-platform? Took 5 minutes. I thought about going through Church of Flying Spaghetti and Monsters. Flutie knows ball. But I figure if I did one, if I ever did more than one, the other couples probably would get the giggle like my bestie and I did. So I went to Universal Life Church. I only got ordained so I could get her and her hub service. Yes, a few, but I'll give it a double check. Yes, if you drop that and you let me know, we will not physically, but we will virtually fight one day. That'll be the event of the century. I want to be a house husband with no budget credit card, so I may need 2 husbands. Polycule. You go get your polycule, miss. Yes. And I've done another friend service. Yes, that's an actual bucket list item of mine. I would love to legitimately be someone. I want, let me marry somebody. That's the vibes. I hope my best friends find their person. I know I and my other friend, John, we have found our person. We have at least 3 other bitches we're waiting for. And you know what? No pressure for them. They don't have to. But I would love to be the one that does it. No pressure if you ever watch this and if John ever sends you this clip. But just know that if he does or if anybody does, I would like to be the one that marries you. And if you don't give me that opportunity, unless you elope, which is fine. But if one of you 3 bitches ends up getting married, please consider me as an alternative. Fulfill my bucket list, please. Because what are friends for? Exactly. There we go. And I've done another friend service. Only other thing I had to do was to register a courthouse in my parish, which was filling out a slip of paper with my info. That makes sense. That's probably the same thing here. Oh, I was gonna show you guys some ghosty videos. At least a couple more before we head out. Oh, and Louisiana counties at your county. Okay. Some ghosty videos and then do the Backrooms trailer.
UK, the Castlefield House office building on Liverpool Road had something strange happen on the building's security cameras. The clips show an empty office building coming alive at night around 3 a.m. as chairs and papers fly across the room, computers turn off.
You don't have an odd state. You guys just have a really historical state with a lot of things that you can probably talk about for days that are still very much back from the French and stuff. And shit.
On and off, shadows glide across the walls, and something continuously jiggles a door handle while it all happens, as if whatever it is trying to get out. The full duration of the footage is 5 minutes long, so I can't show you guys everything, but you can find a link to the original video down in the description. For now, take a look at a piece of the footage with me, and tell me what you guys believe.
Wait, what the fuck? What the fuck? They got a Pulte in there. Actually, honestly, Mess, yes, this shit, for a second I thought I was watching a movie because I was like, these are like great angles for like something spooky. They got a poltergeist in here. Of course you get a poltergeist in a corporate office. I'm probably sick of y'all trying to meet all the deadlines. They're unionizing. They are unionizing. They said, fuck these guys. We don't get paid enough. I would do that too. I would do that too. LOL. I get it. Deadlines. Okay. Wait. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, no, fuck those papers.
This building is in fact dubbed by the public as Manchester's most haunted office block, and it's home to dozens of companies including several finance and PR firms, but it's highly debatable if the footage is real. As far as
it's weird because it's known as the haunted office hub. So like clearly it's been an office for such a long time, or like office space for probably a really long time, which now I'm starting to believe that the ghosts there are probably people that used to work in the environment and they're just fucking sick of it. They're like, fuck these guys. Corporate, horrible. I don't recommend. I'm gonna make their life a living hell, run up their bill in case, just to see if it collapses.
As I can tell, I can't see any way that it's fake. Scott Mackinnon, however, would have a different opinion. He runs Phoenix Paranormal Investigation from his home in Denton, UK, has for 20 plus years, and he believes the footage is fake. If you'd like to know why, check out the article on the matter down in the description. But what do you think? Is this fake?
That's also possible, Mess.
Number 8, Night Crawlers. In 2008, CCTV footage was released on YouTube and it went viral. What it showed was some sort of creature or paranormal entity walking on 2 legs with only a head, no arms, and no torso. The footage was later
disregarded. Oh, I
remember
this.
And pixelated to tell whether or not it had been tampered with, although most said it looked too real to be CGI.
I remember it being a conversation within the Native community as well, because it's known as an actual like creature within the Native community. I just can't remember the name. I think it is night crawlers, but it is like literally like long-legged creatures with like a hub on top. I'm sure he'll explain it.
3 years later, in 2011, a couple was having trouble with break-ins near Yosemite National Park in California, so they pointed their security camera toward the driveway, and what they captured was very similar to the footage in 2008. Take a look.
Yeah, it's like a looks like a it looks literally it looks like a tiny little head with like curtain rope, and then it's just walking out, but it's like really resembling like creatures from like Native American, specifically like folklore and stuff. Next time, let's look at Mexican duendes. Yo, Mess, actually though, duendes freak me out. And like, I don't even know if I fully think of them as bad. I just think of them as just fucking creatures. Just like fairies are creatures. And that anything is fucking possible. Baggy clothes and stilts. That's what I also thought. And then... what the fuck was the running footsteps? Making my way downtown. Like, if you play a whimsical song, it's not that scary. Like, if you play a whimsical song, let's say one day we legitimately find Bigfoot and y'all are talking about Bigfoot, but if you like just play whimsical music behind it, I would not be scared of Bigfoot. He's just there. He's just a homie making his way downtown, walking fast. Faces pass, and he's homebound. I don't know.
Still don't believe? Well, apparently these stick-like creatures had a link to ancient Native American Indians, as you can see carvings out of trees that were done by them hundreds of years ago.
HOTT had to go. You just see footage of the Yeti finally comes out to the public, and fucking somebody decides, because that would be our generation, somebody decides to edit it to Chaperone's fucking had to go. And it's a fan cam edit of Bigfoot or the Yeti.
Now what do you think? Number 7, the Horton Mine. This next piece of footage was caught by a man named Frank, who is an abandoned mine explorer that uploads all of his footage to his YouTube channel. He has explored over 100 mines, but has never encountered anything as creepy as what he found in the abandoned Horton Mine located within Nevada.
Hold on.
Frank is not a paranormal.
This. I don't fuck with mines. I will explore them in the sense of, like, if I have professionals and it's just part of a little trail at a park, I will, okay, do it. We're with people, chill. But I will not, and I mean it. I did, what was the national park? Was it the Yosemite one? Hold on. Not great. Was it Badlands? It might have been the Badlands or Bryce. No. Oh, it was the Wind Caves. The Wind Caves. I had to look at it. It was the Wind Caves. The Wind Caves in South Dakota. I've been in them. It was a really cool experience. Do not recommend it for claustrophobic folks. But I never steered away from the crowd. That being said, the people that actually generally go and explore caves by themselves, no. I love y'all. No. One, because I would hate to be the one that stumbles upon a bear in there. And I'm not talking about the gay kind. I would hate to be one of the ones that stumbles upon a bear accidentally at a cave. But then 2, if energy is already so stagnant in regular places, I cannot fucking imagine the energies in cave systems, especially with the fucking history in America specifically, and how many people had to die for us to mine shit in general. So no. That's from Days Gone's. Oh, the depths of the earth are no. Yeah, exactly.
He is used to the atmosphere of abandoned mines, but this one was different. Judging by his other videos, there's no reason to believe that this video was a hoax. The footage speaks for itself, so take a look.
What the fuck is that? Oh, it's a swing chain.
One chain is swinging back there. Don't know if you can see that in the video or not.
Which is crazy, knowing that the Blair Witch movie was not real. And it was just, that's why I also like found footage. Like what Nacho shared with us, I fucking love that shit. I love found footage stuff because I think it confused the fuck out of people when it came out, and that's so valid.
Yeah, this mine definitely has a very spooky vibe to it. So I'm gonna head back out and check out the other stuff that's here. This is just too wet and too muddy. And obviously something is making the chains.
As above, so below too, yeah.
Time to get the hell out of here.
Now, if that wasn't weird enough, the following...
I can't help but think about just like the fan edits. Like, let's say fucking aliens are real, or let's say the Yeti and Bigfoot are real. Like, Our generation would 1000%. There will literally be a fan edit. There will literally be a fan edit on TikTok once that information gets released. Somebody would create, like, you know how we had Team Jacob and Team Edward? That same shit would happen. That craze in fandom. The Nemesis system is free. The thirst traps. They're literally, you can't tell me it's not. The Nemesis system is free. As of when? As of now?
Here, Frank went back to the Horton mine and ventured in deeper. What happens next, whether it's real or not, is for you to decide.
There's the ore pass with all the cascading water, and what the fuck is that?
It's a tour site.
I don't know what that was, but there was a sudden blast of cold air, and I'm getting out of here.
Number 6, YouTuber Mellowbird. If you haven't heard of Mellowbird, he's a popular YouTuber who has uploaded many videos displaying what he believes to be a poltergeist within his house that he says is haunted. In this video, you can see him sitting
Oh,
at
I've
his
seen
table with
this.
a Ouija board and an electromagnetic field detector, which is
Can y'all stop fucking with Ouija boards if you don't know what the fuck you're doing with? Oh, God. You know, for the sake of this, I'm skipping this fucking video. Because what? Stop fucking with Ouija boards.
Number 5, The Flying Girl.
There's nothing wrong with them. I just don't think you guys are adequate enough to be able to use them in the first place. Y'all need mentorships.
Now, there is little to no information about this one, and it still creeps me out. In 2009, a video was uploaded to YouTube titled Flying Girl in Russian Wood by a channel that has never been active since. In the description, all it says is, I have recorded this video while going for a long walk with my dog. I can't explain what happened here. I was very surprised. I didn't expect to meet anyone because I was in the woods. Take a look.
Flying girl. Bro, what the fuck?
After stabilizing the footage, I noticed something strange. If you really look at the little girl that appears to be levitating, she keeps looking around at the ground as if she doesn't know what's causing her to levitate. This only leaves 3 possibilities. 1, this whole video is a hoax. 2, the mother is somehow controlling the levitation. Or 3, there's a third entity here. But ghosts cannot levitate people, right?
It's fucking aliens from above. Just being like, hey, let me just scoop you up. Somebody stopped the button process. Be like, hey, I don't think we need to get another kit. Some shit like that, right? And it's just there in the hovering space.
Right? I thought only demons could do that. Number 4, The Cemetery Girl. This video comes from a celebrity individual who was a part of a reality TV show hosted somewhere in Mexico. It shows a man exploring a cemetery around 1:30 a.m., searching for a ghost that is rumored to have been spotted there on numerous occasions. He gets his wish. Perhaps the creepiest part about the footage is the girl's scream while he's running away.
What?
Number 3, The Body of a Pig. In 2007, a video was posted to the internet by paranormal investigators.
Is this gonna be gross? Hold on. That might be gory. I don't want to play something that might be gory.
This one is definitely my own personal favorite because of the reaction. The reaction is so
yes,
realistic, and it's definitely how I would have reacted too. What the video shows is a man opening a door that leads to some sort of corridor. I'm not sure if it's a part of his house or if he's in an apartment building. In fact, there's little to no information about this video at all, which is mostly why I think it's so creepy. What the man finds outside his door can't be explained. Take a look.
Is that a kid? Oh my god, that's a kid. Fuck that. I barely even saw it. I just saw the...
Number 1, the rake. The rake might be paranormal or it might be a living animal. It is...
Hey, we're not looking at this one. I ain't doing that shit to you guys. Alright, we'll keep it there. Let me go look at the back rooms. I paused that immediately. I was like, we ain't doing that. The back rooms. trailer because I really want to watch it. So I saw Nacho say that that was a pleasant surprise. I knew this was gonna happen. It was announced a while back. I just couldn't. I don't remember if we ever talked about it in the community or not. Maybe pre you joining the community or pre a lot of you guys joining because of Warframe. But I knew about this for a while now. I'm actually really excited, and this is gonna be one of the ones where I take an edible and go in and like we're gonna go experience it, you know? And you didn't even watch it. Just made us watch it. You barely watched it. You just saw a glimpse. My face was covering the rest of that. That kid one was not it. I technically... Oh, you're talking about the kid one? Yeah, no, I technically watched it, but I was like squinting most of the time. I only saw a video, but then I wasn't expecting it. Yeah. I'm excited. I saw a glimpse of the trailer. I didn't see the full thing. I think it's probably going to be a banger, to be honest. The concept of the back rooms actually give you so much room to be able to write a script on it, so...
I found something. In the store.
Okay. What did you find?
The place. I found a place.
No.
Hello? Anyone there?
Okay, quick moment. Set design. Unless all of it is just like a bunch of walls and green screen. Whoever built the rooms, or if they went to a corporate office for it.
Look, I know how this sounds, but you gotta understand, it's massive in there.
I'm not saying I don't believe you.
Okay, I'm gonna come back here with proof. All right, you filming? Yeah. Follow my lead.
Clark, what is this?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. I've been there every night since I found the place, and I still barely scratched the surface. All right, just take it slow. Oh my God. Pull me up, pull me up, pull me up! What do you see? All these rooms. This place built something. It's like a maze. It just goes on and on. Sometimes I'm scared I'll get lost.
Clark, can you hear me?
Only saw videos. Is he actually... I mean like the set design. He actually built the actual movie set designs. Like physically built it.
I don't understand. What is this?
It's beautiful. Am I right?
Hello?
Yeah, no. I'm talking about like the fit. I know who made it. I'm talking about like the actual physical design of it being an IRL, like in-person movie. I'm very impressed by it. I think it looks beautiful. It looks stunning. I'm excited by it. I think it's gonna be. I think this might be a really great movie, and I'm really excited for it to come out. I'm excited. I don't know. I'm geeking out. I think it's cool. Here, one thing to lighten the mood. And so we're back in this space of just relaxing now. We're letting go. We're not holding on to things. Because at the end of the day... Nah, you did us dirty. I was trying to relax and not just wants to fucking get yelled at. So hold on a second. ¡Nachos! Hijo de la chingada madre, pendejo de mierda, carajo. ¿Por qué me anda andas haciendo estupideces en este chat? ¿Ah? ¿Qué es tú y tu fucking kink, ah? ¿Por qué no agarras tus cosas y empiezas a hacer un buen trabajo en el chat? Como ser una buena persona cuando las personas están en medio pánico. ¡Carajo! ¡Ah! ¡Oh! ¡Justo ahí! ¡Justo ahí! ¡Agarran el esto del lenguaje! ¡Pendejos de mierda, carajo! Todo empieza con nachos. ¡Bien estúpidos! Wait, time out on the language swap. Frida is already asleep in bed, so I'm not going to be able to show you guys Frida. So I do apologize for that. If we hit the point, it's technically my almost 9 p.m. my time. Around this point, usually she's already in bed with Bridget, so she tries not to. I think I would have to trap her in here to be able to let her. Back to the... Anda, mira, ¿cómo se llama? Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. It's a Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. Fun, whatever. Donut, whatever. Ya, bueno, mi gente. Creo que es tiempo de que yo me vaya. O me imagino que es tiempo de que yo me vaya. Mañana seguimos con Lara Croft. Con las aventuras de pendeja. Y donde me había parado porque estaba bien atorada. No me acuerdo exactamente qué tenía que hacer, pero sí me acuerdo que tenía que ver un video en cómo hacerlo. Necesito poner una lista en cómo hacerlo. No me acuerdo. Oh, ¿sabes qué? Ya sé qué hacer, Espérate. Oh, Frida. Okay, you wanted to come? Hold on, guys. Frida's here. I don't know. I didn't realize she was here. I thought she was already in bed. She blends in with her bed. I want to get her a new one. You got lots of treats. Okay. You've been really good. You guys got to see all 3 of my dogs today. That's awesome. Mess with the 17. As I mentioned, Frida gets to go into training in the next couple of weeks. I am terrified that we're gonna fail. But you know what? I'm not gonna manifest that shit because I think she's much smarter than I give her a chance to. She at least knows how to sit and wait. Sit down. Because you're an educated girl, right? Yeah. You don't take things like suggestions, right? Yeah. Because you're not like the other dogs, right? Yeah. Nope. Sit. Yeah, that's right. That's a good girl. All right, guys. I do have to head out. But I wanted to say a huge thing. Oh, sit down. You know what? Are you going to bite at it? Are you going to look at one direction or multiple? Big shout out to you guys tomorrow. Do play some Rise of the Tomb Raider. So we're back to gaming tomorrow. And then Friday, of course, we are doing some runs on the Hex. I'm really close to getting rank 5. Or rank 4? I forgot what rank we're on. We're pretty close, so I'll just be grinding that. And then at some point I do have to schedule side missions and side gigs and side stuff for Warframe. And then that might not be on Friday. We'll see. Maybe it will. I don't know. What else? What else am I forgetting? Oh, big shout out to you guys for your patience. Expect a new episode, non-stream related, tomorrow for the dispatch reactions. Nightcap yet? What is nightcap? Can't remember. What do you mean by nightcap? Oh, Noko? Yeah, I haven't done that yet. I need to do a lot of missions actually that are still missing. I guess I'm just really focused on the hex. I really just want to get to a romancing aspect. Well, we'll see. Thank you guys so much for being here. I do appreciate it. Frida, come say bye. She's like, bitch, tell her to give me toys. I want treat. You're a good girl. You're such a good girl. Honestly, I think you're gonna nail the test. You're gonna be great at it. I think you're gonna kill it in your class. You'll be such a phenomenal dog. Yeah. This is my stuffy. My desk stuffy. Because it looks like Frida. No, don't touch it! Anyway. Alright, let me switch over to my regular camera. Alright, guys. Thank you guys so much for being here. Appreciate you. Have a beautiful night. I'll see you next time. Bye! See you on Discord. Join the Discord. Follow me everywhere if you want any content. Yada, 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 yada. I can't remember. Bye!